Hello and welcome all to yet another special edition of weekly webinar with district magistrates on rainwater harvesting, water management. The special weekly webinar series presented by National Water Mission, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India, and organized by APEC News Network. This is the 15th edition of this weekly webinar with district administrators and municipal administrators, and also we have a representative from the NGO sector every week. We have an honor to have with us Shri UP Singh, Honorable Secretary, Minister of Jal Shakti, Government of India, who will be delivering the keynote address at the beginning of the webinar. We welcome UP Singh. We have with us G. Ashok Kumar, Additional Secretary and Mission Director, National Water Mission, Minister of Jal Shakti, Government of India. Thanks for joining us. He'll be playing the very important role of moderator in this weekly webinar. We have with us Dr. Mudehari Jawaharlal, District Magistrate and Collector, Vijayanagaram, Andhra Pradesh. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Jawaharlal. We have with us Dr. Mannan Akhtar, District Magistrate and Collector, Jalgaon, Uttar Pradesh. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Akhtar. We have with us Mr. Krishna Bhaskar, District Magistrate and Collector, Sirchila, Telangana. Thanks for joining us. We have with us Chanchal Rana, District Magistrate and Collector, Balangir, Odisha. Thanks for joining us, Shriyana. Before I hand over the session to Shri UP Singh to deliver his keynote address, let me tell all of our viewers that this is a weekly webinar being organized by Ministry under the guidance of Secretary and Additional Secretary, so that more and more discussion can happen on water management, what are the best practices of districts which can be showcased here, so that that can be replicated in other parts of the country, so that the Jal Andolan becomes a Jan Andolan. With this, over to you, UP Singh, Secretary Minister of Jal Shakti, Government of India, to deliver his keynote address.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Again, we are back for another edition of the weekly water dialogue, primarily with the district magistrates, but we generally also have a non-government organization or a water warriors in our weekly program. मैं इस फोरम पे पहले भी कई बार कह चुका हूँ कि ये जो मैंने सबसे पहले तो मैंने वाटर वीक शुरू किया था, वाटर टॉक शुरू किया था. वाटर टॉक तो हर महीने एक बार होता है, लेकिन उसके बाद मेरे दिमाग में आया कि क्यों ना हम हर सप्ताह पानी की बात करें और वैसे लोगों से पानी की बात करें जो हमारे लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है. और मैं तो फिर हमेशा वही बोलता रहता हूँ कि भाई हमारी कंट्री में PM, CM और DM तीन ऐसे लोग हैं, in their own respective jurisdiction they can make a lot of difference actually, and that's why generally we bring 3 or 4 district magistrates every week, and today we also have 4 district magistrates. आज का खास एपिसोड इसलिए भी है कि आज हमारे साथ एक चंचल जुड़ा है, और मैं कभी बहुत पहले 92-94 में बलांगीर का डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट या कलेक्टर हुआ करता था, जहां चंचल है. और मैं तो इस बात को एडमिट भी करता हूं कि जब मैं डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट या कलेक्टर हुआ करता था, जबकि बलांगीर एक माना जाता है कि ये वाटर स्कार्स काइंड ऑफ डिस्ट्रिक्ट है, वैसे अब मैं नहीं मानता हूं कि उड़ीसा का कोई किसी भी जिले को वाटर स्कार्स या वाटर स्कार्सिटी वाला डिस्ट्रिक्ट कहा जाना चाहिए. जिस स्टेट में करीब 1400 से ज़्यादा मिलीमीटर रेनफॉल हो, उसको हम वाटर स्कार्स नहीं मानना चाहिए. तो एक तो वो कारण है. और टुडे ऑफ कोर्स we are providing a forum for the district magistrate to showcase their activities, but today we have someone जिसकी कहानी बेटर इंडिया में भी छप चुकी है. मैंने 2 दिन पहले ही शेयर भी उस कहानी को किया था. तो मुझे पता है कि जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट्स हैं, कलेक्टर्स हैं, वो कहीं ना कहीं पानी के लिए बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन वो जो अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं वो समहाउ जो उसकी पब्लिसिटी होनी चाहिए या जितनी जानकारी लोगों को होनी चाहिए वो नहीं होती है. तो हम क्या करते हैं, हमेशा बातें जो करते हैं हम वही बात करते हैं कि इंडिया में कितना पानी, मतलब केवल इंडिया में नहीं पूरे दुनिया में वाटर की कितनी स्कार्सिटी है, हाउ वी आर गोइंग फ्रॉम water stressed country to a water scarce country, and how a next world war fought over water and not over oil and gas. इसी तरह की बातें होती हैं, या कुछ और भी बातें होती है, कैसे हमारे पास पानी की कमी है. We have only 4% of world's water availability, whereas we have 18% population to cater to. We have 17% of cattle population to cater to. We also talk how per capita availability of water is going down. Now today water availability per capita is 1/4 of what it used to be, maybe, or 1/5 of what it used to be at the time of independence. फिर हम बात ये भी करते हैं कि इंडिया में रेनफॉल तो अच्छा होता है, बट रेनफॉल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इज वेरी skewed actually. We get rainfall, maybe some places we get more than even 5,000 millimeter rainfall, some other places we don't get even 200 or 300 millimeter of rainfall. एक नई चीज की बात आजकल होती रहती है, वो है कि भाई जो क्लाइमेट चेंज हो रहा है एंड the way climate change is impacting the rainfall distribution, that's another matter of concern. ये सब चीजें सही हैं, मैं नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि ये कोई चीज गलत है, बट फिर भी मुझे I am convinced, because I am in this ministry for last 4.5 years. As a secretary, I am looking after water for more than 3 years. I am also looking after drinking water and sanitation for more than 3 months now as my additional charge. So with all this experience, I feel that India should never become a water scarce country actually. A country which gets about 1,000 millimeter of rainfall should never become a water scarce country. तो problem water availability की नहीं है. It's not proper to basically calculate how much water we have per capita. Per capita availability of water is not really a very good indicator actually. तो प्रॉब्लम कहाँ है? प्रॉब्लम ऐसा नहीं है कि पानी की समस्या नहीं है. इस साल में भी और पिछले साल उतनी ज़्यादा पानी की समस्या नहीं रही, बट 2018 में हर जगह न्यूज़ में आता था कि पानी की कितनी समस्या है एक्चुअली. सो आई फील कि द इशू लाइज बेसिकली ऑन द बेटर मैनेजमेंट ऑफ वाटर. जब मैनेजमेंट की हम बात करते हैं तो बेसिकली देयर आर 2 kinds ऑफ मैनेजमेंट व्हिच यू पीपल ऑल अंडरस्टैंड. वन इज अ सप्लाई साइड मैनेजमेंट एंड अदर इज डिमांड साइड मैनेजमेंट. अब सप्लाई साइड मैनेजमेंट की बात तो है कि कैसे हम पानी की अवेलेबिलिटी या पानी की उपलब्धता बढ़ाएं, और डिमांड साइड मैनेजमेंट का है कि हम पानी को खर्चे को कैसे कम करें. और दोनों में हमारे कंट्री में बहुत ही स्कोप अभी भी है, सप्लाई साइड मैनेजमेंट की और डिमांड साइड मैनेजमेंट की. एंड व्हेन वी वर टॉकिंग अर्लियर ऑन सप्लाई साइड मैनेजमेंट, तो हम बात करते थे केवल डैम्स की, कि बड़े बड़े डैम्स में पानी भरे जाएं. और अब भी कई बार स्टैटिस्टिक्स आता है ये कहते हुए कि भाई इंडिया में जो है वो पर कैपिटा स्टोरेज इतना कम है एज कम्पेयर टू यूएसए और एज कम्पेयर टू इवन चाइना. But I would say here I would not be discussing about, let's say, storage in dams. Why should we think in terms of storage only in very large dams actually? Why can't we store water in millions and millions of smaller structures actually? आपके बहुत सारे कलीग्स पहले यहाँ आए हैं. एक कलीग आए थे आंध्र प्रदेश से ही, जिन्होंने बताया था कि कैसे उनका जिला पहला जिला बना था जहाँ उन्होंने 1 लाख फार्म पॉन्ड बनाए थे, 1 lakh of farm ponds. So why are we looking at a very big dam? Let's look at a very small structures. क्योंकि मेरा अपना मानना है कि पानी की समस्या जो है टू अ वेरी लार्ज एक्सटेंट इट इज अ डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड प्रॉब्लम, एंड वी शुड ऑल्सो लुक फॉर अ डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड सोल्यूशन. और जिन लोगों ने डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड सोल्यूशन खोजा है, ढूंढा है, उसका उनको परिणाम भी मिला है एक्चुअली. तो जो हम कई बार कहते रहते हैं कि घर का पानी घर में, खेत का पानी खेत में, गांव का पानी गांव में. तो हमारे खेत में जो पानी गिरता है अगर हम खेत में ही रोक पाएं, घर पे पानी गिरता है उसको भी हम आप यहीं पे रोक पाएं, या गांव का पानी अगर गांव को रोक पाएं, तो देयर इज नो रीजन व्हाई we should be facing a water scarcity actually. And there are many examples, there are hundreds of examples already in this country. But वही है कि our country is a very big country actually. Our problems are very big. We have something like 7 lakh villages in this country actually. So even if you do these kind of things in 100 or 200 or 500 or 1,000 village, this becomes a very small kind of interventions. So my idea is that this kind of intervention should be there and the district magistrates can really do it. बिकॉज सप्लाई साइड मैनेजमेंट में हर जगह स्कोप है. अब इसलिए मैं कहता हूं कि रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग की बात जब होती है तो सबसे पहले चीज़ें मैं डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट्स को ये बताता हूं कि भाई आप एक काम करो, आपके ज़िले में जितने भी वाटर बॉडीज हैं उनको आप जिंदा कर दो. जस्ट रेजुवनेट ऑल वाटर बॉडीज व्हिच आर इन योर डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स. कितने वाटर बॉडीज थे वो आपको रेवेन्यू रिकॉर्ड्स में भी मिल जाएंगे. देयर आफ्टर यू कैन डू अ ग्राउंड ट्रूथिंग एंड यू कैन फाइंड आउट कि कितने जो हमारे वाटर बॉडीज हैं वो आज भी जिंदा हैं जिनमें पानी रहता है. हाउ मेनी ऑफ देम हैव बीन इनक्रोच्ड अपॉन, हाउ मेनी ऑफ देम हैव silted up, how many of them have become receptacle for a solid and liquid waste. वहाँ केवल solid और liquid waste dump होता है. तो आप अपने जो आपके वाटर बॉडीज हैं उन वाटर बॉडीज को जिंदा कीजिए. उसके अलावा जो है हर जगह स्कोप है रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग का. अब जैसे आपके किसी भी जिले में हजारों स्कूल होते हैं, Why can't we have a rain water harvesting in every school actually? अभी हम जल जीवन मिशन में ये कह रहे हैं कि 100 days के कैंपेन में कि let every आंगनवाड़ी सेंटर and let every school should have a tap water actually. So whenever I have been discussing with the states, I have been telling कि आप tap water दे रहे हो, लेकिन टैप में जहां से पानी आएगा, सोर्स सस्टेनेबिलिटी इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. तो क्यों ना हम ऐसा करते हैं कि हर स्कूल की छत पे हम एक रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग बनाते हैं. उसके मैं दो फायदा देखता हूँ. वाई आई फर्स्ट टॉक्ड अबाउट स्कूल, why did I not talk so much about other places? There's a reason for it actually. एक तो है कि ठीक है, जितना पानी हमने स्कूल के छतों पे इकट्ठा किया वो पानी हम ग्राउंड वाटर में रिचार्ज करके हम ग्राउंड वाटर अवेलेबिलिटी बढ़ा सकते हैं. बट एट द सेम टाइम दिस विल बी अ वेरी गुड लेसन फॉर अ वाटर लिटरेसी फॉर द चिल्ड्रेन एक्चुअली. बच्चे भी पूछेंगे कि भाई क्या छत पे बन रहा है, तो हम बताया जाएगा कि भाई रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग स्ट्रक्चर बन रहा है, क्यों बन रहा है, क्या इसकी जरूरत है, ये पानी नीचे कहाँ जाता है, वाई शुड बी रिचार्ज द ग्राउंड वाटर. सो इट कुड बी अ वेरी गुड लेसन. तो एक एग्जाम्पल मैंने स्कूल के दिया. आपके यहाँ आपका कलेक्ट्रेट है, आपका कलेक्टर का रेस ऑफिस है, आपका पंचायत भवन है, ब्लॉक डेवलपमेंट ऑफिसर्स के ऑफिसेज हैं, हर जगह स्कोप है. आपके यहाँ यूनिवर्सिटी होंगी कई जगहों पे, कई जगह पे कॉलेजेज हैं. एवरी कॉलेज है बोथ रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग की जो जो फिजिबिलिटी है वो केवल रूफ टॉप पे नहीं, अदरवाइज भी ह्यूज लार्ज एरियाज आर देयर. लेट्स से व्हेन आई एम टॉकिंग अगेन ऑफ Bolangir, and now Bolangir there is an ordnance factory at a place called Barmal near in Titlagarh subdivision, I think. Now every ordnance factory I find that there are 5,000 10,000 hectares of land actually, and many of them can be very a lot, so a lot of water harvesting structures can come over that land. आपके यहाँ हर जिले में आजकल स्टेडियम्स बन गए हैं एक्चुअली, बड़े बड़े स्टेडियम्स. The other day when I was talking to CII Chennai, आई वॉज टेलिंग द सेम थिंग कि भाई चेन्नई में 2018 में एक PIL फाइल हुआ था कि यहाँ पे IPL मैच नहीं होने चाहिए क्योंकि लोगों को पीने का पानी नहीं मिल रहा है, एंड सो मच वाटर इज बीइंग यूज्ड फॉर वाटरिंग द क्रिकेट फील्ड एक्चुअली. नाउ हर जो आपके पास स्टेडियम है उसमें ट्रेमेंडस स्कोप इज देयर फॉर रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग. आपके यहाँ इनफैक्ट आई रिमेंबर वंस पुडुचेरी से डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट आए थे, उन्होंने तो ऐसा भी किया था कि जो सिनेमा हॉल्स है वहाँ पे भी रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग हो रही है. जितने रेलवे स्टेशन हैं, रेलवे प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं, देयर इज सो मच स्कोप फॉर रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग. तो देयर इज अ ट्रिमेंडस स्कोप ऑफ रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग एवरीवेयर एक्चुअली. तो एक तो सप्लाई साइड मैनेजमेंट में आप अपनी कोशिश करें कि आप जितने भी आपके छोटे बड़े कुएं, तालाब, पोखरी जिस नाम से भी हों, let us make them alive actually, let us rejuvenate them and let us try to do rain water harvesting as much as we can. कई सारे जिलों में जो अभी यूपी और बाकी जगहों पे हुआ है, कई सारे छोटी छोटी नदियां जो हैं उनको भी रेजुवनेट किया गया है, मोस्टली अंडर MGNREGA, and that's a very good thing to do because our rivers are all vanishing actually. एंड जब तक हम जो छोटे छोटे रिवर्स हैं, थर्ड ऑर्डर फोर्थ ऑर्डर ट्रिब्यूटरी ऑफ अ रिवर, अनलेस वी टेक केयर ऑफ दैट, आई डोंट थिंक द बिगर रिवर्स व्हिच वी टॉक ऑफ गंगा और यमुना और कावेरी और कृष्णा, दे विल सर्वाइव एक्चुअली. सो दैट्स अनदर एरिया वेयर यू कैन डू. The other side I would just like to mention for you is basically demand side management. हम demand side management की ज़्यादा बात ही नहीं करते हैं. इसीलिए जब बात होती है कि लोग कहते हैं कि 2030 तक तो हमारा वाटर का डिमांड इतना बढ़ जाएगा. क्यों बढ़ जाएगा? मैं कहता हूँ नहीं बढ़ेगा डिमांड. इवन इफ द पॉपुलेशन बिकम्स डबल, देयर आर कंट्रीज व्हिच हैव शोन. USA में पिछले 20 सालों से कोई वाटर का डिमांड नहीं बढ़ा है. कनाडा ने पिछले 20 सालों में वाटर डिमांड को आधा किया है, बिकॉज वी आर वेरी इनएफिशिएंट यूजर ऑफ वाटर एक्चुअली. तो हम इतने इनएफिशिएंट यूजर ऑफ वाटर हैं, तो अगर हम अपनी थोड़ी इफिशियंसी लाएं, चाहे वो खेत के पानी की बात हो, चाहे घर में पानी यूज करने की बात हो, या इंडस्ट्री की पानी यूज करने की बात हो. अब हर जगह जो है हम तो खेतों में पानी देते हैं ना, पौधे को पानी नहीं देते हैं. कायदे से हमें पानी तो केवल पौधे को देना चाहिए और उतना ही देना चाहिए. लोग कहते हैं कि पैडी इज अ वाटर गजलर क्रॉप. आई डोंट एग्री विद दैट. आई डोंट से इट्स अ वाटर गजलर क्रॉप. आई से इट्स अ वाटर टॉलरेंट क्रॉप एक्चुअली. बट इवन पैडी को हम इतना पानी पिलाते हैं कि एज अगर हमको प्यास लगी हो 2 ग्लास की और हम पानी पिए 5 ग्लास, तो क्या होगा? मेरी तबीयत खराब हो जाएगी, मुझे उल्टी हो जाएगी, आई विल वॉमिट एक्चुअली. सो वी वर्चुअली मेक आवर प्लांट्स वॉमिट. तो हर जगह स्कोप है. तो कई सारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट्स ने, इट्स नॉट वेरी इजी व्हेन वी टॉक ऑफ सेइंग कि नहीं हम तो पैडी को नॉन पैडी में कन्वर्ट कर देंगे, माइक्रो इरिगेशन करेंगे, बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. आई डू अंडरस्टैंड दैट दीज आर नॉट वेरी डिफिकल्ट, दीज आर नॉट वेरी इजी थिंग्स टू डू, बिकॉज फार्मर्स विल ग्रो what he can sell it very easily. अगर बोलांगीर और कालाहांडी में भी फार्मर्स पैडी ग्रो करता है, इसलिए ग्रो करता है कि टुमारो अंडर प्रोक्योरमेंट दोज थिंग्स वुड बी प्रोक्योर्ड एक्चुअली. बाकी के अपने प्रॉब्लम्स है, पेरिशेबल गुड्स और बाकी के अपने प्रॉब्लम्स है. बट फिर भी मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगता है कि देयर इज स्टिल इनफ स्कोप फॉर रिड्यूसिंग. अगर हम 5%, 10%, 15% भी रिड्यूस कर लें, हमारा 80 in this country 89% of water goes into agriculture actually. So even if we save about 10% of water, then we will have enough water for our needs actually. तो I would only say, वैसे तो पानी पे तो इतनी बातें हैं कि बहुत सारी बातें की जा सकती हैं, बट एक अच्छी बात जो मैंने कहा कि अब लोगों को जो everybody says कि when I was district magistrate I did that, I did that, सब लोग कहते हैं. मैं उल्टा कहता हूँ, मैं कहता हूँ कि जब मैं डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट था तो मुझे पानी की समझ नहीं थी, मैंने पानी को ज़्यादा बॉदर नहीं किया, मुझे पता ही नहीं था कि एक्यूफर क्या चीज़ होती है. हमने बॉदर ही नहीं किया कि हमारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट में पानी का टेबल ऊपर जा रहा है कि पानी का टेबल नीचे जा रहा है या ऊपर आ रहा है. हमको पानी के टेबल को ऊपर लाना है, उसके लिए हमें क्या करना है, इन सब चीज़ों की बात नहीं होती थी इतनी ज़्यादा. दूसरी और भी बातें नहीं होती थी. आज के दिन में जो भी डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट यहाँ है, एवरीबॉडी हैज सेड कि हाउ ही इज डूइंग कन्वर्जेंस. कन्वर्जेंस मतलब प्राइमरली तो पैसा आता है मनरेगा से, लेकिन बहुत सारे ऐसे एग्जाम्पल हैं कि मनरेगा के साथ बहुत सारे दूसरे फंड्स भी लगाए गए. मैं कई बार पहले भी यहाँ पे बांदा का मॉडल बताया था, जहाँ पे वो कुआं तालाब जियाओ अभियान हीरालाल जी ने चलाया था, और वहाँ देखने में 2 बार गया था. तो वहाँ हर तरह के फंड जुड़े थे, और चाहे वो CSR का फंड हो, चाहे वो ग्राम पंचायत का फंड हो, फंड की कमी नहीं होती है. डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट्स इफ दे वांट, दे हैव, छोटे बड़े उनके पास बहुत सारे ऐसे साधन हैं, लोगों ने किए हैं. आज के दिन में मैंने स्कूल बिल्डिंग की बात की, तो आप तो मनरेगा में अब कर सकते हैं रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग छतों पे. लेकिन जब वो नहीं भी था तो शालिनी अग्रवाल वडोदरा डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट डिड 1000 स्कूल्स में उन्होंने रूफटॉप रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग किया विदाउट गेटिंग मनी फ्रॉम MGNREG और समथिंग. कुछ कहीं ऑयल कंपनी से कुछ पैसे लिए, कुछ और से किसी से CSR से लिया, कहीं डिस्ट्रिक्ट मिनरल फंड था, वो डिस्ट्रिक्ट मिनरल फंड को यूज़ किया. किसी न किसी तरह से फंड्स वुड नॉट बी रियल प्रॉब्लम एक्चुअली. तो लेकिन वही है कि मेन चीज़ जो जिसके लिए मैं ये हर सप्ताह यहाँ बैठता हूँ, वो ये है कि डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट की प्रायोरिटी में पानी आ जाए. बिकॉज देखिए ये सही बात है कि वाटर का कोई सब्स्टिट्यूट नहीं है, हम बाकी चीज़ों का सब्स्टिट्यूट है. अभी जो हम मे बी हमारा ऑयल पेट्रोल और गैस से जो गाड़ियाँ चलती हैं वो कल से इलेक्ट्रिक से चलेंगी एक्चुअली, और पेट्रोल गैस की ज़रूरत भी है तो हम बाहर से इंपोर्ट कर लेंगे, नहीं पानी को हम कहीं से बाहर से इंपोर्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे एक्चुअली. तो पानी की जो आगे के दिनों में जो दिक्कत की बात है, अगर अभी से हम उसको मैनेज ठीक से करना शुरू करें तो हमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं होनी चाहिए. तो आई एम श्योर सम ऑफ यू हैव डन वेरी गुड वर्क. इनफैक्ट आई वुड नॉट लाइक टू टेक मोर टाइम ऑन इट, क्योंकि आप लोग, हाँ मैंने कन्वर्जेंस की बात की, उसके साथ में एक चीज़ और मुझे बड़ी अच्छी बात लगी कि अब सब लोग थोड़ा सा कम्युनिटी पार्टिसिपेशन की तरफ जा रहे हैं. लॉट ऑफ वर्क, लॉट ऑफ रिवर्स इन इवन उत्तर प्रदेश जिसका रिजुविनेशन हुआ है, उसमें पार्टली तो सरकार के पैसे लगे हैं, चाहे मनरेगा का पैसा हो या किसी और स्कीम का पैसा हो, बट लॉट ऑफ पीपल हैव डन श्रमदान एक्चुअली. हंड्रेड्स एंड थाउजेंड्स ऑफ पीपल हैव कम. ऐसे बहुत सारे इनिशिएटिव हुए हैं जिसमें कि लोग, कम्युनिटी का इन्वॉल्वमेंट. तो आज के दिन में जो नए डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट्स हैं, जो अभी कलेक्टर्स हैं, वो कम्युनिटी को भी इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हैं, वो भी बहुत अच्छी बात है एक्चुअली. जैसे कि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा था, उसी बात को हम सब लोग कहते रहते हैं कि वाटर इज टू सीरियस अ बिजनेस टू बी लेफ्ट ओनली टू द गवर्नमेंट. वाटर शुड बिकम एवरीबॉडीज बिजनेस. तो इसीलिए जो शौभिक ने शुरू में ही कहा था कि हमको कैसे जल के आंदोलन को हम जन का आंदोलन बनाए हैं एक्चुअली. एंड लास्ट पॉइंट आई कीप टॉकिंग अबाउट, और आपको ही बताऊंगा, अबाउट 5 hours ऑफ वाटर. सो 3 hours तो हम बात करते ही थे कि भाई हम रिड्यूस करें, कंजम्पशन को रिड्यूस करें, हम रिसाइकिल करें, बट उसके साथ में हम अब जोड़ रहे हैं कि भाई रिचार्ज द ग्राउंड वाटर. बिकॉज सबसे बड़ा स्टोरेज जो है वो कोई हीराकुद डैम और कोई नागार्जुन सागर डैम और कोई सरदार सरोवर डैम, वो डैम्स नहीं है सबसे बड़े. जितने डैम्स कंट्री में है उससे बड़ा स्टोरेज तो हमारे पैरों के नीचे धरती के अंदर है एक्चुअली. तो उसको कैसे हम रिचार्ज करें. बट लास्टली विच आई कीप टॉकिंग नाउ टू एवरीवन, लेट अस स्टार्ट रिस्पेक्टिंग द वाटर. एवरी कंट्री, अगर इजराइल की बात होती है तो इजराइल में टेक्नोलॉजी सब बाद में आया है, वहाँ आप किसी भी स्कूल में चले जाएं तो सबसे पहले पानी को कैसे रिस्पेक्ट किया जाए इसकी बात करते हैं. तो वी मस्ट respect water, we must respect our rivers, we must respect our water bodies, and we had a very a glorious tradition of respecting them and rain water harvesting. मैं तो कई बार बोल चुका हूँ और अशोक शायद बताएगा कि अशोक ने तो एक बीच में अभी एक ई बुक भी निकाली है जो अवेलेबल है, दैट इज अबाउट स्टेप वेल्स एक्चुअली. अब उन स्टेप वेल्स को देखेंगे तो आपको लगेगा कि अरे हमारे कंट्री में एक जमाने में ये रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग वाज सच एन एडवांस्ड काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग एक्चुअली. तो उसको लोग रिवाइव कर रहे हैं और बहुत बहुत जगहों पे अच्छा काम भी हो रहा है. So friends, I would not like to take more time because I have already spoken for quite some time. I would be interested, even though I had some other engagement, but I would like to be here and try to listen to the district magistrates as well as Mr. Joshi, who is present here. So thank you very much. And if need arises, I will intervene later. Now I hand it over back to Ashok. Thank you, Ashok. Ashok.
Sir, can you hear me, sir? I think there was some connection problem. Is it? I hope it's audible. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the introduction, sir. Sir had covered most of the points which we wanted to talk to you. He has given the entire gamut of issues related to water and how we would like to revive the water and increase the respect for water so that the water crisis in the country is addressed. Now, I would add only 2-3 points where sir has left off. One is that the mission, water mission, had started a campaign called Catch the Rain Where It Falls, When It Falls. This is a campaign to conserve rain. No way of making weak water has to be what is given by God. We have to store it and use it properly, either by reducing the use, recycling, and recovering it and recycling it. That's what we have to do. So we have to conserve water, the rainwater which is available. So that's why we had this campaign called Catch the Rain Where It Falls, When It Falls, which is going on, and many agencies have done. And now I request all the DMs also to take it up forward in the next, so that in the next 6 months we keep the receptacles ready to catch the rain when it comes in the next monsoon. So we have to do a certain activities which we will in a short time. One is that basically is to nudge the stakeholders and all the DMs and the people concerned with the soil conditions and the climatic conditions, and with the help of people's participation, as sir was saying, community participation, so that it will be a successful and sustainable model. So that's what we are looking at it. We are looking at it having more rooftop rainwater harvesting structures. We would like to have tanks desilted and enumerate all the tanks in the districts. See that the encroachments in the tanks are removed. The encroachments in the channels which bring water to these water bodies are removed, and rejuvenate rivers. These are the major focus area of our activities. And we'll be writing to all of you, because we may be starting up a huge campaign from December 15th onwards, with the help of Nehru Yuva Kendras on all these things, to create awareness among the people and increase the buzz in the districts on rainwater harvesting and water conservation. Now, that's the other 2 points which I wanted to add to what Secretary Saab had said. Now, today we have 4 DMs and Jal Sevak who has done a lot of work in rejuvenation of rivers. So we'll start off with Mr. Hari Jawaharlal, who is a 2005 batch Andhra Pradesh cadre officer. He is a district collector of Vizianagaram. He actually his district won an award for the from the Government of India for the water conservation efforts. They had done a lot of work in rejuvenation of a Chakli tank at KL Puram in Vizianagaram. And Vizianagaram, mind you, was having a severe water crisis in the last year. There was shortage of drinking water, and tankers had to supply water in that area. That was the situation there, and that is quite the situation in most of the districts also, where summer times you have tankers supplying water, whereas in the rainy season we get lot of water and the floods and the water goes away. That's why we wanted to store this water so that you reduce the floods also and make available water for the summer. So I request Hari Jawaharlal to make his presentation on the efforts he has made for the water conservation, and for which also he got the award in the from our Ministry of Jal Shakti. Hari Jawahar.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to all of you, sir. It's my privilege and honor to, with you, sir, presenting this initiative in Vizianagaram, sir. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, please. Trying to share your screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sharing, sir.
Okay.
Show that, so share screen. Is it okay now? Sure. Sure, print.
Yes, Hari, screen is not coming. Otherwise, you can go ahead with your.
Yes, sir. Vizianagaram district, sir. It's one of the aspirational districts in our country, sir. And the geography is around 6,539 square kilometers, sir, with a population of 23.44 lakhs as per 2011 census, sir. And the urban population is 4.91. It's around 21%. And the rural population is 18.53 lakhs. It is around 73%. And the literacy rate is only 58.89%, sir. Last year, the forest area coverage is 16.09, sir. Coming to the irrigation sources, sir, the major irrigation source is MI tanks, sir. Around 9,433 tanks are there in this district, sir. And it is covering 1,26,742 hectares of Ayakat is being through MI tanks, sir. Basically, our district is having 860 mm of actual rainfall, sir, and the normal rainfall is around 935 mm, sir. Sir, our motto of the district is three things, sir: donate red, spread green, save blue. Donate red is saving the lives, sir, because we have a very huge extent of national highway wherein the road accidents are very high, and the maternal mortality rate in agency, a tribal area, is very high. So for that reason, we have taken up this donate red campaign, and for that we could able to get the gold medal from His Excellency Governor of Andhra Pradesh last year, 2019, sir. Coming to spread green, sir, it is a eco-friendly atmosphere to create that. Under the state government's flagship program called Jagananna Pachatoranam, this year we could able to plant 1.14 crore plants have been planted this year, sir. And right now, last year to this year, 1% of green coverage is there, sir. Coming to the actual core, most important motto of this district is Save Blue, sir, to preserve the water bodies, sir, because most of the the Ayakat is depending on the tanks. So in both in urban areas as well as in rural areas, particularly, sir, in urban areas, as I am the special officer for this Vizianagaram Municipal Corporation, we have taken up the cleaning of the tanks by means of removal of plastics, removal of debris, unwanted plants, horse hoops. So almost we have taken up in one tank, sir. With that tank, now it is spread to other parts also, sir. As against 9,433 MI tanks, almost 300 tanks were cleaned by doing this kind of activities, sir. So this is the pilot project, sir, under the caption of Pedda Cheruvu Suddhi Seva. Pedda means big tank. It's 178 acres land. It is occupied 178 acres, sir. In that, last year we removed 79 metric tons of plastic and debris in that village, sir, by the help of all the stakeholders, sir. Just I will show one, aerial view of this program, sir. So this is the tank, sir. Almost 178 acres of land is, within the coverage area. And here
we are still not able to see any of your slides.
Oh my God.
Dr. Hari, if you can kindly press the screen sharing option after you start the presentation. The bottom of your screen, there is screen sharing option. Please press that.
Share screen option is there, just.
Yeah, you start the presentation and just put the share screen option.
Share screen.
Yeah, it's here now. It's there now.
Yes.
No, click here.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
No, it's okay.
This is the aerial view of the tank, sir. It is heart of the town, sir, and it has some emotional attachment with the local public, sir, because the goddess Sri Paidimamba is, born in this tank. That is the sentimental place of this area. So we could able to take up this tank because it involves more community participation. For that reason, we could able to mobilize all civil society organizations, students, NGOs, and all media friends. Everybody was participated, sir. Around 2,000 persons participated in this, Jalayagnam. And for about 21 days continuously in the morning hours 5:30 to 7:30. For that, some of the religious associations provided the tea, snacks, everything, sir, for the participants. And most of the the police trainees also participated in this tank, sir. This is on the day of first launching day. This is the picture of the Pedda Cheruvu Suddhi Seva, sir. Then the insights from pilot project is, sir, actually every individual is concerned about the degrading water bodies, sir, but nobody was, coming forward. So for that reason, I myself taken as a facilitator role. And then because of every individual is aware, it's an initiative which should involve all the stakeholders. And that is the reason all the entire community led the program. It is a binding factor on the forum, sir, for all the stakeholders, which is missing link, sir. These are all the pillars of change, sir. Government officials, NGOs, social media, and civil society organizations and welfare associations. Self-help groups were also participated, and the public representatives, mainly, sir, the elected persons were also participated along with the students and other officials. This is the modus operandi, sir. Basically, we could able to do some kind of awareness on water conservation as well as distribution of plants along with the during festivals and government programs on the dais, inaugurating the program with the saplings. And some of the tanks were adopted by the district officers. Each officer is taken one tank. In single days, around 4th January to 2020, almost 130 tanks were cleaned by taking the help of NREGA waste seekers, and also public representatives participated in that program, sir. These saplings are also distributed through the Haritaradam, sir, we could able to mobilize one, one exclusively one truck for supplying the, saplings to the, villagers for planting in and around the tanks, sir. And the education department, in the education department, sir, essay writing, elocution, quiz and exhibition happened, sir. And we could able to, mobilize the social media platforms through WhatsApp and Facebook, sir. We have created Haritha Vijayanagaram and also Jala Vijayanagaram. These two WhatsApp groups are there. Whatever programs we are doing, we are sharing through those social media groups, sir. Whenever we are taking any students or the boarders from hostels and all that, we could able to take up all logistics, sir, providing the, gloves and masks, as well as the snacks, that kind of logistics we could able to provide, sir. And the most of the government departments were given targets for plantation program also, sir. For this year, actually 1.14 crores of plants were planted, sir. Here, the IEC activity is one of the most, innovatively we have been able to do, sir. I'll show you the song for this program, sir. Sir, this is the song, very popular song in the entire Vijayanagaram district, sir. It is almost 5 minutes song, sir, wherein we could able to tell the previous, practices of how our people were, used to stay with the resources, and how now the resources were, depleted. So it is like, motivating the public, sir, and participate by, inspiring the others to join with us. In Vijayanagaram Municipal Corporation itself, sir, we could able to take up 29 tanks, completely cleaned, removed the garbages, and the plantation program in and around tanks were done, and that tank bunds were utilized for now the walking tracks. During 2018-19 and 19, sir, almost 7,767 compounds, 650 mini production tanks, 387 percolation tanks have been constructed, sir, and the desilting and rejuvenation have been carried out in 268 drinking water tanks, sir. Out of 9,433 minor tanks ponds, 975 cattle ponds, 113 Rajaka tanks. In addition to the above, restoration and construction of 1,000 check dams were also taken up, sir. In urban bodies, sir, we could able to do 2,036 rainwater harvesting structure were constructed, sir. A total storage of volume of 0.63 TMC through 11,321 water conservation works during 2018-19 and 0.57 TMC through 12,607 water conservation works were taken up in this year, sir. Under Jaganana Pachatoranam, sir, and this year 1.14 crore saplings have been planted in the district, sir, and we could able to achieve the first place in the state, sir. The outcomes of this initiative, sir: rise in groundwater level 4.35 meters, sir. Additional groundwater recharge is 20.9 TMC, sir. The irrigation potential created is around 7,710 hectares, sir. And basically, sir, not only that, hygienic and health environment is also happened by means of the tanks were brimmed with water, and the tank bunds with greenery also. The migrated birds, falcon from Siberia, have also started, visiting our water bodies, sir. The green cover is increased from 16.9% to 17.9%, sir. These efforts helped in maintaining the district in green zone for 49 days during COVID-19 pandemic, sir. This is the only district long. The first case reported in Andhra Pradesh is March 19th, sir. Till June 1st, we don't have a single case in district, sir. I wanted to show one motivational song on plantation also, sir. It is plantation and this water restoration is going one by one, simultaneously, sir.
పచ్చని చెట్టును నేనురా అనుగరి మనసు నాదిరా పచ్చని చెట్టును నేనురా అనుగరి మనసు నాదిరా కొమ్మను నేరమ్మను నీకు తోడుగా ఉండే అమ్మను పచ్చని చెట్టును నేనురా
Sir, this song is a very popular song in the district, sir, because many schools, children are, playing these kits for plantation programs, sir. The outcomes of next slide, please. Sir, this is the groundwater level table showing the pre-monsoon May period and during November post-monsoon period. If you see 2018, it is 5.87 the post-monsoon period, sir. But after doing this rejuvenation of various tanks in the district, we could able to get a point of almost 3.93 meters of raise in the levels, sir. This is the scientifically our groundwater people have studied through piezometer hydrographic studies, sir. This is the last year's work, sir. Through MGNREGS, 6 lakh people were got employed and 508 crores last year. 538 crores 2019-20 we could able to pay on wage components, sir. Water in all the tanks raised sufficient levels during summer period also, sir. No single tractor kept for transporting the drinking water during this year's summer, sir, last year's summer. And sir, third one, sir, the open defecation around the tank is also almost reduced, sir, because we are not only removing the debris in and tanks, but we also strengthen the burns by keeping the plants either side. So the people are walking around, particularly in urban areas. In almost all 29 tanks, it is being utilized for the local residents as a walking tracks, and they are having the benches also, and the lighting is also provided by the municipal corporation, sir. Thereby, by this activity, now these places are not using for open defecation. Usually, these tanks used to have open defecation places, sir. This is the nature reborn thing, sir. The falcon birds have visited this year. So many birds have come, sir. The turtles are also coming up in the scenery, sir. This is the one tank, Mudidam tank. This is the local one we could able to provide the saplings, sir. But the plantation work and the cleanliness part and the fencing part, everything was done by the Gram Panchayat, sir. The left side is the Gram Panchayat, Mudidam Gram Panchayat tank, and the right side is a Koneru tank bund. This is in urban areas, sir, Koneru. Here some donors have provided even this audio system also, sir. During early morning, they will have some kind of devotional songs and all that. This is the visual impact, sir. Before taking up, this is Chakali tank, sir. Chakali Cheru means for Dhobi's purpose. The left side, first one is Dhobi tank, but after doing some kind of restoration works, repair works, and cleaning process, removal of horse hoops, everything removed, sir. And now it is looking like this, sir. The residents are also, watching for, open defecation is not happening, and the people are walking for, using it as a walking track. And this is the Ikoneru tank, sir. we found very difficult to enter inside the tank also, sir, because of lot of defecation, debris, even dead bodies of pigs, and we could able to remove all those things. And now this water body is looking like this is the right side. Then last one is, sir, this is also Iconair, sir. This was done by the local residents with the help of the NGOs, and now it is looking like this, sir. Sir, by recognizing this kind of water conservation works in the district, the government of India under Jal Shakti ministry, we could able to achieve the national recognition on water conservation, sir. Recently, we could able to get the first prize in the entire district, sir, entire country, sir. Sir, this is we believe in a society grows great when old men plant trees, whose shade they know they shall never sit in. And now ounce of practice is worth more than tons of preaching. This is the statement of our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, sir. We believe in this, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for a very nice presentation, especially the kind of efforts you have taken to involve the people actually, whether it's by way of catchy songs or whatever it may be. But what is important is that how people get involved and how people start respecting the water bodies actually. I remember again when I went to Banda that evening in 7,000 wells, 5 earthen lamps were lit by the ladies actually. I also went to one of those wells and I also lit the earthen lamps actually. The whole idea was that we bring a respect back to the water and water bodies actually. Thank you very much. I would not like to take much time because today we used to have 4, but today we have 5 people. That's good actually. So Ashok,
Yes,
you and kindly ensure that no more than 15 minutes actually, because we have just an hour
Yes,
of
yes.
time.
Sir.
Thank you very much.
So now we have Dr. Manan Akhtar, sir, 2011 batch officer from UP Cadre, sir. He is the he was CDO Gorakhpur, sir, and after that he has now taken over as DM of Jalon, sir. He has done a lot of work in check dam rejuvenation. Almost 500 check dams he had rejuvenated. And last year he was awarded one of the prizes from the national our ministry. This Ministry of Jal Shakti had given awarded for the work he has done, sir. He is a doctor by profession and also takes a lot of effort in during the COVID times. He has got a lot of respect from the people for all the activities he did during the COVID management, sir. Over to Manan.
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure and my honor to be here, to be present with the dignitaries over here. And I'll just like to give a small presentation on that. Sir, I'll apologize from before that I'm not in a very good preparation right now, because for last 3 days in Jhansi, there was MLC election, and you must have seen some visuals also coming out. So today is the first day actually. For last 2 days, we haven't been able to sleep. So, sir, I'll just like to, my presentation hasn't been updated, but sir, I'll try to give the best which I can. Thank you. So, sir, as you know, sir, Jalon is part of Bundelkhand, which is already an area which is always under water stress. One of the reasons is that groundwater recharge is poor because of the rocky terrain and the ravines also. So when I joined over here, sir, we had a discussion with the farmers, and we also had a discussion with the departments which are associated with water conservation. Since most of the people who live here, they told us, especially farmers, especially we have every month a meeting with the farmers about their issues. So they were of the opinion that if we have to increase the water supply to them for irrigation, etc., and since UPAIM also insists on the fact that we have to increase the income of our farmers, so there were a few things which we were going to do. One was, since this is an irrigated area through canals, one was to improve the efficiency of the canals and the water utilization through the canals. So that is a separate part which we were doing. One of the other things was that we were looking for ways to increase our ground recharge. Since unlike sir, the other parts of Bundelkhand like Mahoba or Banda, etc., where they traditionally, because of the chandels, there have been large tanks. This part has never been like that, and this part never had those traditional big wells or big, I'll say not wells, big ponds. So this area was mostly dotted with smaller tanks, and government since 2000, since the change of the century, has taken up works through recharge by check dams. So when we inquired about those check dams, around 350 were built since 2000, and some were built since last 30 years, like since 1970s, and they were in a very poor shape. Most of them were either dilapidated or they were not working, and they were having cracks, etc. And as you know, sir, one of the big problems with the government setup is that we always go for something new, but we never prepare for how it will be restored or how it will be maintained. So when we look into that, the number of check dams were there, but they were actually in a very poor shape and they were not working. So we talked with the local departments, and we also talked with the farmers and their associations, and we decided upon the fact that we'll restore these check dams, and while restoring it, we'll also make some technical changes if needed with them and with the local advice only. So as you were already saying about this convergence thing, so we were thinking about the money. Some of the check dams were actually in such a poor shape that the Gram Pradhans or the Narega funds were not enough for them. So we utilized the check dams, we repaired them through the utilization of the 14th Finance Commission. And for the bigger ones, we also use the Kshetra Panchayats, so the block panchayats, because they have a bigger fund and have a bigger mandate. And some of them, so we, for labor work, we actually use the people who used to go out or migrate, especially in the summer. So when we started to plan for it, we started the planning in the months of December only. So because usually what happens is whenever summer arrives, especially post March, it's very the arrival over here is very fast, and people start to migrate and water distress starts. And by the time people start to make their Manrega plans post March, it gets very late and the rains arrive. So we made the plans from the December onwards, and the plans were made and we got all their sanctions, etc. And then we also involved the local JEs. Most of the JEs from the land improvement department, they have their own works, but during these times we involved them for special monitoring, because we knew that we have to complete our work in 3 months time, otherwise post rain it won't be an easy job to do. So we involved them also, and we also created an app, a simple app, just to monitor a weekly progress, since no one can go to a place every day. So we made this app that every week they have to go to that place, and we'll see the improvement, and they'll take the pictures from the same place. So we did that also, but that was just a planning part. And once we had the plans with us, we involved the local gram panchayats and the people working over there. So local gram panchayats were very helpful with us, but they don't have the technical expertise. So along with the J, we use the minor irrigation department. The minor irrigation department in UP looks after all the check dams and their technicalities. So we use them as the handholding for the gram panchayats, because gram panchayats had the work, they had the labors, etc., but they did not had this kind of expertise. So that was the whole planning part which we did. And then when summers arrived, we continued with the already sanction was there. We continued it, and we were doing to able to repair around 150 check dams in the first go. That was the first phase of the planning. And on the first phase only, we then got it reassessed through an independent agency, and also through the scientists of the Water Conservation Department. And what we are able to see, sir, is, can we go to the next page? Yes, so we already talked about it. Can we go to the next page? Yeah. Next page. So what we were able to see is that during just this 3 months only, which is the most distressful time for the people of Bundelkhand, we are able to give around 1.5 lakh mandates to the people. and we were able to improve our water surface recharge, water recharge capacity from 99,000 cubic millimeter to 342,000 cubic millimeter only in these check dams, and we were able to increase the water surface water storage from 458,000 to 18 lakh 78,000 cubic millimeter, a growth of around 310% only in these check dams only. So this led to a huge improvement in the people, especially the farmers who were not only living over there, but also the farmers who were related to the outside, who were a bit far off. So at the end, we were able to calculate that around 10,000 farmers were actually benefiting from this, because the farmers were not only taking the surface water, the recharge was actually increasing the groundwater level, which reduces the stress on the farmers, because they usually need to pump it and electricity is not always present over here. So we were able to increase their income. We were able to provide a permanent source of water, and we were also able to provide work, especially during the time of stress. So that was during the first phase, in the first year only. Over the next 2 years, we have increased it to around 350 check dams, and subsequently only we have been able to increase the water surface recharge a lot. One of the things which I forgot to mention was that usually a cost of a check dam, especially in this kind of Bundelkhand topography, is around 50 lakhs. And on an average, when we took out the cost to repair this was around 2.5 lakhs. So we were able to save a lot of money also through this. Otherwise, if you're going to make a new check dams, it was going to cost us a lot. But I'll also like to add what other work which we have done post this, and that was also related to water recharge. As you know, sir, that Bundelkhand is famous for Bihar Chambal or Bihar ke Bagi ke bare mein sab jante hain, sir. And Bihar is because ravines are getting formed, and the only way to stop is by making the check dams, sir. Not check dams, but basically marginal bunds and peripheral bunds. So we, this year, before COVID hit us, we had taken a plan of individual farm improvement of around 3,000 farmers, and we were able to make their peripheral bunds. Although because during COVID times it was stuck, but post COVID time, once the Prime Minister announced a special package, especially this GKRSL, Gramir Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan, our district, which was one of the high stress districts, around 50,000 people have come back. Our district was also chosen for it. And since we had already planned, which was on the back burner, we used it, and we were able to work on those 3,000 individual farms who were near the ravine land, and we were able to we were able to give them around 1,500 hectares of land back for farming. So it was a sort of huge achievement, and we were able to achieve the highest number of mandates as mandated during this time, in not only in the state but in the whole of the country. So in GKR also, sir, we were able to use that individual farmland and increase the water, not only water recharge capacity, but also the irrigation potential. Especially the irrigation potential increases by 2 to 2.5 times, and mostly for the lentils and the oil seeds and the pulses. So this is what we have been doing for last 3 years, sir. And you were also present, sir, when we made the presentation in the first year for these check dams, and we were also able to get the prize for the National Water Prize, first category in the North Zone, sir. And sir, I'd like to show some pictures of the first year of work which we have done, sir. Can we go ahead? Next page. Next. This is just block wise how much increase has been there. Next page. This is water recharge capacity increase block wise. Next page. This is some of the pictures which we have taken. You can see the dam was fully cracked. It was totally useless. And we not only repaired the dam, we also made certain improvements from the local ideas. Like local people say to us that when water is making making a turn. It's especially hitting the walls, and it's causing side flow of water, and that water is actually causing this kind of damage. So we are able to increase by using the local knowledge. We increase the size of the check dam at the turn. So now it is much more better equipped for any kind of water induced damage. Next page. This is one of those check dams. Next. Next. This you can see pre and post. Next. 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 Thank you, sir. I will, if anybody has got a questions, I'll be ready to take it. And I'm thankful, sir, that you have given me the chance to be present over here and make a presentation. And I'll say, sir, what you have insisted upon, sir, and I agree 100% with it, sir, that making water conservation structures or improving them is not going to provide us the real impact. By the structures which we are going to make will be around 1/6 of the improvement which we can do by just behavioral change in the life of people to use water efficiently. And I think, sir, that the bigger deal and the bigger investment if we make in that IEC, that is going to cause much more help than improving these structures. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mannan. You are already
Mute
doing.
yourself.
Sir?
Mute your
Kindly
mic.
mute.
That's the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So no, you have already done some good work. Keep doing the good work, because whenever someone talks about water scarcity in India, the first regions people talk is basically they will talk of Bundelkhand, or they will talk of Vidarbha and Marathwada region of Maharashtra, and maybe part of Rajasthan, and maybe a part of Gujarat also. So if we can make a difference, and in my opinion, no matter what the geology may be, I understand that a large area in Bundelkhand has basically not so much a scope for groundwater recharge, but at the same time we cannot say that there is no scope at all. Actually, there is still scope, and then we can do it large number of surface waters actually, because small structures, we do understand that there is a lot of evaporation losses from the smaller structures, very large number of them, but still it would be certainly beneficial. And if we can make some difference to the life of the people by securing ensuring water security for them, I think you will go from there as a very satisfied man actually. Thank you very much, and back to you, Ashok.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, Manan. So actually, our water mission had been focusing on the Bundelkhand area. Many of our speakers for our water talk and other water-led talks were from this Bundelkhand area. We had Pushpendra Bhai of Apna Talab. He was one of the first talkers in our water talk. Then we had Hiralal DM Banda, then Umakant Umrao from the other from Madhya Pradesh side. Last week we had Sanjay Singh from the Parmarth. So a lot of people from Bundelkhand had been with us, and now that you're also joined, that the successful people who have done a lot of work in that area. Very thankful to you, sir. Now we have Krishna Bhaskar of 2012 batch from my Kada, Telangana Kada, sir. He both his parents are IS officers, sir. So his mother is a 1980 batch officer and father was 1981 batch officer. A very, very accomplished officer, sir. And he has also lived up to that tradition. He was posted as collector in Srishila and the newly formed district, and the districts belong to the CM son KTR. So he is the district magistrate of that district. And he had done a lot of work in the water sector, sir. He did a lot of work in restoring the tanks, old Rajarajeshwari Reservoir, which is there for many years. He has got it up functional. About 27 TMC of water is being stored there, and about 699 water tanks were identified, and it is being rejuvenated, sir. Young and very dynamic officer. So over to you, Krishna Bhaskar.
You are mute.
Thank you very much, sir, for those very kind words. I hope I'm audible now. It's an honor to present to the Honorable Secretary and Additional Secretary, sir. And it's also an honor to be presenting with other accomplished officers and Mr. Sunil Joshi. I'll just try. I understand time is at a premium, so I'll quickly share the screen. And I promise you, I'll do it very, very fast, sir. Yeah, I'm just sharing the screen, sir. Kindly, if you could just hold on, sir. I'm sorry, sir. There is lost permission to share screen. There is some issue here. I'm sorry, sir. For whatever reason, privacy.
No problem. Try.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll just a moment, sir. Just a moment.
Shamik, permission has to be granted. Is it there? Technically, anything has to be done to get the sharing the screen?
There is some issue, sir. Kindly, sir. System preferences, they've asked me to open here. Just a minute, sir. If you feel pardon me, I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, I've given it, sir.
Okay.
Sir, log in and log out back right now. Immediately right now. There's a small issue. I'll do it right now, sir.
Sure.
Sir, this is adjoining district, sir, Adilabad. We had actually taken up within the initiative of the then collector in 1991, sir. They have shifted. Soybean was introduced in the neighboring district, sir, Adilabad. So, which we started in 5,000 acres, now has come to about 3.6 lakh hectares. So, as you rightly said, sir, it takes a lot of time to get the cropping pattern changed, but if it is persisted, I think people will come forward. And Adilabad, known for farmer suicide and all, has now come back to growing soybean, which is really saving a lot of water in Adilabad and also life of people. This is the district adjoining to the district where he is there, sir.
Sir, I hope I'm visible now.
You are ready?
Yes, right, sir. I'm ready.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm sharing my screen, sir. I'm opening the PPT. I hope it's visible, sir.
Yeah, it's coming. Fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm sorry, sir. I deeply apologize for the inconvenience. I had installed Chrome for this presentation, but somehow it wasn't configured on my laptop now. I've just taken care of it.
That's
So
fine.
it is now through. It's now through. Please go ahead.
Yeah, yes, sir. So the main thrust of what I'll be speaking about, sir, is that when the entire crux of our district it was originally an extremely backward district. And about not even, I would say about 15 years back or 16 years ago, the then district collector or the SP used to come to this subdivision of this area. It's a new district formed in 2016. Used to travel by private vehicle or by bus because it was heavily affected by left-wing extremism. And when the district was formed in 2016, I'll be taking you very quickly. Understand time is at a premium, and I'll be talking about it. If you see the small figure at the bottom of the screen, the yellow taluks blocks were semi-drought prone and the red blocks were fully drought prone. In other words, there was not a single block in my district which was not drought prone. The average rainfall was about 600 mm a year, but all of these taken together, there were blocks which had even less than 300 or 200 mm a year. And water was a significant problem at that point of time. And not just that, as I've said, we've also had a history of very, very strong left-wing extremism there in our district. The CPI-ML has generally about 12 people in its Politburo. At one point of time, there are 700 districts in India. From this one district, 3 of them had links. So there was a lot of movement built up there. It was the epicenter of a lot of ideology there. And that was a problem for governance. So the approach we've taken in the last 4 years, I've been lucky enough to be posted to the first collector of my district here. There was a brief interregnum during the elections where I went out for a year, but I've come back. So I've been here for about close to 3.5 years. And the approach which we've taken largely has been that most of the grievances we get are a form of intelligence of what is happening at the ground. So they can be used to mold district and state policy towards us, and that would serve us much better in the long term. And more than just that, I would also like to praise right at the outset that we have not really implemented any quote-unquote innovative solution in our district. Every single solution we've implemented has been something which has been tried elsewhere. What we have figured out over a period of 2 to 2.5 years, and it's been working for a year now, is how to put them together and how to fit which solution to which context. And what we've realized is it's a non-linear payoff. That means from 1, 2, 3, you'll be able to go to 20, 40, 100 all of a sudden if you have all your parameters in place. It is completely non-linear. After a fashion, once you've got your hygiene factors in place, you reach a very, very non-linear trajectory, which augurs very well for the district. And since this is a small presentation, I will not be sharing data. I will only be sharing the basic narrative. And I think we should be done in 5 to 7 minutes. Again, our district, if you see the top 3 figures there, first is we are drought prone. We've had very, very little procurement in general. Second is we've had a lot of predilection for migration. Almost there were 80,000 families in district who had gone to the Gulf. The Gulf was known actually for people who came from our district in menial jobs, a driver, a carpenter, or a sweeper, etc. And we were also known at that point of time in 2016 when the district was formed for weavers' suicides. I'm very happy to say that all 3 of them have been arrested right now. And the defining image of my district as of today is, if you look at the photo below, this is what you see, a Maoist stupa. We have 267 hamlets in my district, and about 225 of them were under Maoist control. And whenever they completely dominated a region, it was their habit to create one of these stupas for their fallen kin. So the existence of a stupa like this meant that the Maoists had complete area dominance. Today, I'm showing you the same in Dumala of Yelaredipet block. The same has become a government paddy procurement center. And this is true for every single such stupa in my district. That for us symbolizes where our district has come. It was a completely Maoist dominated area. Now, the very people who are involved in the movement themselves have been so completely co-opted that the most hardcore sympathizers have now been co-opted into government programs. They still criticize government, and we encourage them for that. The fact is, violence has been completely given up. And the second part of what I'm talking about, most of them have been soaked into getting some kind of water regeneration activities, either NREGA or irrigation projects, or a host of sanitation activities that we'll be talking next. So then and now. And since we've been carrying this on since around 2016, we've also punched above our weight. Otherwise, we were a very non-district, very backward district. We really didn't get lot of attention. But in the last 3 years, we have been able to deliver on the ground. So at multiple levels, national levels, we've been recognized. I'll be going through some of them later. But the broad parameters of how our practice have been recognized are, first, in sanitation. Second, in NREGA, which we use as, I'm sure, as has every other collector, uses a tool for water regeneration. And third, using the same grievances we get as a form of directional indicator to figure out what should our next step be. So, as I've said, originally we had a plan that we were a water scarce district. So we had a plan to reach a much better level of water independence. The reality was we had a number of inflection points, and frankly speaking, we failed in our first attempts there. So these inflection points, for example, I would place right at the outset that it is not immediately clear whether what you do is correct or wrong. For example, there is a certain quantum of fund available. Do you do that into saturating farm ponds? Do you do that into setting up a fecal sludge treatment plant? Do you do that for IEC activities? Or do you regenerate old tanks, as Secretary Sir has pointed out? Or instead of all these, do you just take it upon yourself to create a phase-wise plan for local bodies to do it themselves? All of them look good on paper. There is nothing which seems to work and which doesn't work. And therefore, we figured the best way to learn is to try and learn. Luckily, again, we've had a long point of view since 2016 to now. So we've really learned through subtraction and not addition. Or as they say, neti in Sanskrit. Like, not this, not this. Everything looks exactly perfect at the outset. When we started doing things, we realized panchayats were not necessarily the best methodologies to go through, because there were some political angles there, equations there. We also realized that farm ponds people did not like taking up in summer because the mud is too hard to take up. So we say use contour trenches. We also realized people don't necessarily take to fecal sludge treatment plants because it reminds them that their city is unhygienic. So you may not have, maybe it was better to implement it first. And people didn't believe that you could take money out of waste and cleaning the water. So maybe that had to be shown as an example. These are all things we went to the ground and found out. And it was really through subtraction. There are possibly a lot of solutions. 100 solutions may present themselves to you, but what work on the ground is hardly 5 or 6. And for us, that showed how we have to go forward. And the one thing I'm showing, this is a trend of main grievances in 2016. I put on the right side here. The green one is, I hope you can see the mouse here, for water, which was originally the highest number of grievances. Every single summer, government used to give us a grant to hire tankers, and there used to be a lot of allegations raised, whether a sarpanch would over-invoice or a department did not carry out proper invoices. A lot of people would also benefit themselves a lot at that point of time. But ever since our water levels have been going up, and I'll be taking you, we've had water level increase of 6 meters and more in the last 1 year. The trend of grievances in green also has been significantly going down. This is in fact noticed this year when you had made a presentation to the MPART committee. And the last point I was talking about, even if you are using grievances as a sort of indicator to see where exactly our water efforts are going, we've also made it a point to differentiate closure versus redressal. Now, even if I'll be taking you through a system we have developed to actually figure out what is going on where. Rejection and putting aside is not necessarily redressal. And if you take redressal, it hardly goes to, I would say, 50-60%, but closure, we could easily go to 99%. So what is the process? I'll very quickly take you through. In the beginning of it was more like we had a lot of, on a lot of fronts, we tried to make as much progress as possible. The very first was, we became the first ODF district in Telangana, and I think one of the first in South India in 2017. The second was, we started taking part very actively in not just the usage part, but also the cleaning of groundwater through all the schemes in Narega. That actually ranked us first in the country in 2017 in Swachhta Darpan. And the last, in 2019, a bunch of activities were taken up, continuous contour trenches, farm ponds, under Narega, to actually increase the water level. It was recognized by the Government of India, and we were awarded the National Award for NREGF. More than that, to actually take stock of how many people were involved where, and again use grievances as an application, we started creating unique IDs in our own software. We saturated, stakeholders were taken apart. I haven't put videos here, but it will take a lot of time. And one thing we realized, this is very important for us, even when we started moving out and figuring out how to get people involved, we realized that there was a problem of fidelity. Now, there was someone, a sarpanch in a district would like to meet you and personally explain the problem. A person who's again building a farm pod would not like to travel to a district headquarters. They would like to, say, put up a write and submit at a local office. And someone who's more educated would like to use an app. Someone even more educated would like to log into the website and put up photographs. Whatever it is, we realized the feedback from people had fidelity. They were very, very wedded to their own channels of communication, and they would not budge beyond that. So we decided that we had to have a one-stop solution where each of them could use a channel they wanted, and the integration will be done at our point for us to get information in an integrated fashion. And finally, I've been talking about validation. These were the first three. We aggressively sought validation in our first years, whether it be national or even otherwise. In fact, we are very happy to say at this point of time that the INSEAD Singapore, which is a management university, he has now considered writing a case study on, I'll be coming to that later, but we've also sought validation, external validation, to give us feedback not just from RD but from outside as well. Which are some of the work we've done. Other collectors, the respected two collectors have also spoken about the work they've done. These are standard issues under NREGS. The idea was to keep going on and wait till the non-linearity kicks in after 3 to 3.5 years, after which we saw water levels rise very, very high. Not just that, we also realized that because we had two major towns in the entire district, there was a problem in that even if we started doing a lot of water work, there was a very little traction in terms of how clean the water was, especially when it went into our main tanks. So over 2 to 2.5 years, though we did not have specific grievances, there wasn't a quantum of grievances, there was an early trail of complaints. We did three things. First is we completely broke all our insanitary toilets. There were about 2,560 of them in our town, and it took about 2 days, and they were all built on drains. They were discharging into drains. They were, in one fell swoop, all of them were destroyed. And of course, it did lead to issues at that point of time, but people have not built them later after that. The second was we commissioned for ourselves a fecal sludge treatment plant. And I'm given to believe there are only 11 of these in South India and Western India. Maybe they've come up in the last 2-3 months, where all our fecal sludge, because there are two issues here. When you build toilets, we encourage people to build twin pits, but they don't necessarily go for them, and all of them like to take these septic tanks. And people do take out septic tanks, and there's professional agencies which clean your septic tanks and then discharge the same septic waste into your water bodies. The entire work you do, the entire hard work you do over years of creating new water bodies is completely, literally going down the drain when septic waste is discharged into these tanks. So we built a fecal sludge treatment plant where we create fecal sludge into manure in 6 months. And today we are earning money out of our fecal sludge. The second is, if you see the bottom left photograph, we've also created a dry resource collection center because we also understood very early, about in 1 year, again we had a failure there. We understood from our failure that people were discharging plastic and paper into our water bodies, especially our new water bodies. So this was a new challenge, and therefore we tied up with ITC. Today, we collect our water, we segregate our waste at source, we collect from each home, and we ensure it's not discharged into water bodies. And we earn, for a small municipality, we earn around 3.5 lakhs a month and employ around 18 people. allowing our waste to be sold to ITC for their paperboard unit. So it is not just creation. We've also been trying to ensure that the water quality as such stays well. The last picture you see of bottom right is of pipe composting. This was also picked up by Government of India and used as a best practice to be spread to other states, where a simple pipe, PVC pipe, can be used with layers to allow people to compost their kitchen waste and create it into manure, which they use for their own kitchen gardens. So that has also been quite successful in our district, and it has been used by our own CRD as a model for the rest of the state. So I've been speaking about these, the earnings around 3.5 lakhs. And the state also recognized the same with an excellence award in 2018. So the first angle I talked about was recharging through NREGA and a convergence scheme. The second was ensuring the water quality remains the same. The third is creating a separate grievance redressal process for only those people to see whether our feedback was appropriate or not. So we had a separate system. We created a system called Janahita for this. These are brief screenshots about how that worked. And it allows you to look department by department, and here water is somewhere here. I'll just get back here. But overall, and there's just one more wish, one more point I wanted to make. Overall, we also did one more thing. We ensured that all pending irrigation projects and all pending tanks were taken up simultaneously. So there was a four-way model we used. Our Honorable Minister is also the Minister for Industries. So yes, that definitely helped us in getting CSR. We used CSR, we used Panchayat funds, we used CBF funds available with the collector, we used NREGA, and we used irrigation department funds to ensure that every single water body in the district was regenerated. And we are very happy to say we had 699 identified old water bodies as of 2016. Today, more than 400 and I would say 86. Yeah, 486 have come back. And we are trying to ensure the rest come back. Primary among these is the Rajarajeshwara Reservoir of 27 TMC. It's a huge amount. Today, we are in a position where we give water to all of our district and still supply to Hyderabad. We can supply 1 year's worth of Hyderabad drinking water after making sure our district gets its water. And that's how we look at quantity. Then we look at classification of mandals. We had special officer per mandal. Typical grievances, again, we started going back to feedback. And this year, for the first time, we have seen a record increase in our groundwater levels of 6 meters, actually a little more than 6 meters, 20.2 feet, which was certified by the groundwater department. And in Mussoorie, in LBSA Mussoorie has now made us a case study for their trainees. And we've been fortunate to again talk to the officer trainees of the 18 and 19 batch twice this year about what exactly we've been doing. I'm very happy to say Secretary Sir was actually talking about using old revenue records to identify your water tanks and water bodies. We did exactly this 3 months ago. So we went to the Commissioner Survey and Settlements Office. We went to old people. We went to large landlords who had their own proof documents. So we were able to actually locate where exactly water bodies were created. In 4 or 5 cases, we carried out large-scale encroachment. But remarkably, in 95% of the cases, people themselves stepped back when a water body was identified. And once they saw water, there was no problem in any kind of re-encroachment. The last issue I want to talk about is courts. Now, we had nearly 670 or more court cases, all of them writ petitions in the High Court. Necessarily because the amount of land acquisition done in our district, for a small district, we did about 21,000 acres of land acquisition for our reservoirs in the last 4 years. And this had everybody who had lost land, naturally, or there were, I would say, 13 submerged villages. And each of them were submerged out. They lost their land, they lost their homes, they lost their livelihood. We had to give R&R packages. The entire process took 4 years, and it is still going on in the last stages. For that, we had to create a court module online. We hired a lawyer on our own, we took special permission from government. We hired 3 officers who sat at our district full time to ensure that counters were filed in time, that the court was appraised of all the action we took, and that it was very clearly broadcast to everyone involved, especially land losers and R&R houses, that this was not done with any personal intent, rather it was for the whole of the district as a whole. Therefore, that's how we've been able to bring our water levels up and also get the confidence of people up. Very quickly, my last point, these are the new reservoirs we've created in our district now. The left is the MMR reservoir, Rajarajeshwara Reservoir, which is likely to supply water not just to my district, but to probably about 12 more districts. This is Anantagiri, and this is Upper Maner, and another reservoir, which is not so big. This is 27 TMC, top left. Bottom right is 3 TMC, but this is a much more picturesque area where people have now started going to water tourism, something we could never have imagined 4 years ago. This is Anantagiri, the pumping station which was created. This was done in record time. You can see people here. This is about 1 day, about 10,000 cusecs. So I mean, 1 day we're able to fill about 1 TMC. In 3 days, we're able to fill up this entire top right part. And this is a lot of our treatment plants, which you see here, which we've been able to also, again, this is a state scheme, but 99.25% of households in my district have connection with drinking water. And the remaining is only new hamlets which have come up. The last is Singasamuddram Reservoir. It's a very beautiful reservoir, which was rejuvenated, I think, after 70 years. It's a very small reservoir compared to the left one, but it's 0.575 TMC, and it's a lot of it was originally based on step well. You can see the some step wells have even got overflowed here. So the point of taking this up is there's a long gestation period. It is not like a farm pond where you get a result in 2 days. But the result you get, and it's not fully predictable. You have court issues. There are a lot of political issues. People don't like to leave. The result you get is completely non-linear. Like I said, you get 1, 2, 3. Then you go to 20, 40, 100, and 1,000. It is worth to exploring if there are any big projects or old reservoirs which can be regenerated on a large scale. It's a lot of hard work. There is pain. I myself have been hauled up in court many times for it, but we were able to convince the honorable court that it was being done as per law, and finally we were able to come back. And my last thoughts here, that's Alice in Wonderland. That's a red pin in Alice in Wonderland, and she tells Alice, you have to run as fast as you can to stay in the same point. Now, we've, by God's grace, we've got success in increasing water levels in our district, but people's expectations also have been commensurately increased. So we still have to run just as fast to stay exactly where we are. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you very much, Krishna Bhaskar, for an excellent presentation. In fact, only 3 days back, I read about your work in Better India. In fact, I shared with my different groups. Actually, we are into so many, because of 2 departments, I have so many groups actually. So I shared it, and then Ashok pointed out that you are the one who is going to speak in 2 days time actually.
Very kind of
Apart from doing a good work for a groundwater recharge and increasing the water table, I am happy because I look after Jal Jeevan Mission as well as Swachh Bharat Mission Phase 2 actually. Of course, your state along with Bihar has been 2 states which has its own programs also. You have a Mission Bhagirath, but in Jal Jeevan Mission also we don't talk it as a infrastructure program actually. It is not just a connection. What is more important is that functionality and regularity with which water should come and the quality of water actually. And similarly, in fact, I had a one-to-one discussion with almost all states as far as Jal Jeevan Mission was concerned, kind of a 2 hours review. And now I am doing with Swachh Bharat Mission. And I always say that Swachh Bharat Mission Phase 2 is in a way more important and more difficult than the initial Swachh Bharat Mission, when our purpose was basically an ODF, because ODF has not led to a cleanliness of the village actually. Maybe people may not be defecating in the open, but for having a clean village, you have to manage your solid and liquid waste. And managing solid and liquid waste is much more difficult, because maybe construction of a toilet is one-time activity, but a solid and liquid waste management is a daily activity actually. So maybe some other time we will discuss about that also. Thank you very much. Since the time is not much, we will quickly, because we still have 2 speakers left actually. So back to you, Ashok.
Sir, now back to your own district, Sir Chanchal Rana from the district you had worked. So Bolangir is a district collector of Bolangir district. So I did not tell more about the district because you are yourself aware of all the things. So over to you, Chanchal.
Thank you very much, sir.
Chanchal, we can see your slide.
Sir. So I'll just take one second, sir.
Sure.
Sir, is the slides changing, sir?
No, not as yet. We are just seeing first slide.
Is it changing now, sir?
Chanchalji, Shobik this side, we have the presentation. We'll keep on changing.
Yeah, yeah.
We will change
Yeah,
the
sure,
slide.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Good evening, Secretary Sir and Additional Secretary Sir, and collectors of other districts, and even Joshi ji. It feels great to be a part of this webinar, and I've been listening to it very patiently because more than what I'm going to speak, I have actually learned quite a lot here. And since this is the first posting, and I've joined these districts a few months back, so it has actually been a very nice session to listen to, and what are the challenges and what all the other districts have also been doing, sir. I'll move to the next slide. So I'll not take much time in briefing about the district as well as such. So Bolangir is basically in the western Odisha, which was once a major migration prone and a drought prone district, as all of us know, and it was the famous KBK area was it belonged to that KBK area, that is Bolangir, Kalahandi and Koraput. But fortunately now the entire scenario has actually changed over the past 10-20 years. Both with respect to the drought or with respect to the malnutrition and other things, and it is now one of the major rice producing districts of the entire state as well. So we have around 14 number of blocks. Next slide. So the main major issues related to the water resources, I'd like to point out that we have a very long dry summer. In fact, what Secretary Sir was also mentioning about Titlagarh subdivision, it is the hottest place in Odisha as well. So the district has a very high erratic rainfall, and as you might see that almost every alternate years there has been drought in the district, or we have some sudden rains as well. So I have also mentioned the domestic water demand depending upon what is the projected rise in the population, and as such what will be the rise in the crop demand as well. So taking all these factors into account, this district is very it is in a water stressed condition. And this is one of the priority areas where the district is actually working towards as well. And there are, as many of the speakers have already said, there are many important areas which need to be looked after, both with respect to the supply side, both with respect to the demand side, with respect to the wastage, and above all, the state gives very much importance to the self-help groups. The state has been getting many of the awards for the past 3-4 years in National Rural and Urban Livelihood Mission as well. So almost everything that is done in the district has to involve the women self-help groups, the public in general, and the public representatives as well. So we'll move to the next slide. We'll move to the next slide, please. Yeah, so these are some of the schemes which were identified to be linked with water conservation and rainwater harvesting measures, like Mahatma Gandhi, NREGS, and PMKSY, the IWMP. Fortunately, the IWMP is now getting closed, but still we have 2 major watershed areas still going on in the district. The RAD scheme, there is a Biju KBK Yojana, which is a state government scheme, and it focuses on Bijli Sadak Pani, but since in Western Odisha, the Pani is one of the major issues, so the primary focus, around 50% of the funds are earmarked for water conservation and other similar measures. Then we have the forest department works and the RIDF. Then especially in the urban areas for rejuvenation of the old tanks. Bolangir has been a estate, has been a royal estate. Patnagarh, it belonged to the Patnagarh kingdom once. So we have very large royal tanks, one stretching around 40 hectares, 50 hectares as well. So to rejuvenate all those ponds and tanks, we have a Odisha Urban Infrastructure Development Fund also. And that is basically some portion is a grant, some portion is a loan also that is being taken by the municipality or the notified area committee. And this is all related to water conservation. We also had the urban counterpart of NREGS, that is the Urban Wage Employment Initiative. And especially during the COVID period, and it is being implemented for a year. And the major focus here is also for those workers who have returned Bolangir being a migration-prone district. So they were again engaged in cleaning all these major streams and the small tanks, ponds, etc. in the urban areas. And one of the major initiatives which is being going on in the district is the Odisha Millet Mission and the Odisha Integrated Irrigation Project for Climate Resilient Agriculture in association with the World Bank. So this is where the cropping practice is actually being changed. We are moving away from paddy towards non-paddy crops, towards less water-consuming crops such as cotton, pulses, millets, and that is not being done only from the agricultural point of view. A complete end-to-end process has been made where the consumption of millets, the consumption of the non-paddy crops has been increased by changing the meal of schools, of Anganwadi centers and everything. And that is why these kind of initiatives have actually been sustainable. Now, sir, before we go to the various strategies that we have taken up in this district and the schemes through which it has been dovetailed, I'll share one of the experience over the past 6 years that I have been posted in the Western Odisha for quite some time. Around 4 or 5 years I've spent in the Western Odisha itself, which is a little drought-prone area as well. The people here are very intelligent. People, not only here, the people in general are actually very intelligent. They are very rational. They know all the solution to most of the problems. They are rational to the extent that the options they choose are mostly very short-lived or very easier options. Like suppose there is a water scarcity, they'll all demand along with the public representatives कि एक tubewell यहाँ पे खुदवा दो, let a tubewell be there. And immediately, so now we have around every village has 5 to 6 number of tubewells, and that is why the groundwater recharge was not happening. The groundwater was coming down and everything. Similarly, during beautification of major tanks or recharging of major tanks, when it was most of the time it was portrayed as if it is a government scheme which has come, and the government is completely the important stakeholder, is the driver, is the facilitator in developing the tanks, and it was mostly seen as a scheme where contractors would come into play, public representatives would come into play. So it was all as if it will succeed as long as there is a scheme behind it. So what I personally learned during this thing is that since people are very informed and very rational, we need to have a very intelligent discourse with them. Some areas where the people know that water has to be preserved, how it can be preserved, and 50 years, 100 years, 200 years back, what was the system of agriculture, of water conservation and everything. And similarly, somewhere as the head of a district, we need to have the discourse very intelligently, where we are speaking of water conservation and everything, but on the front we are speaking about the schemes or about those topics where they are more interested. Like in many of the villages we saw in rural Odisha, they don't have this culture of drains in many of the roads. So most of the wastewater directly it comes into the streets and everything. So when we had a discussion about why this water was led directly into the roads and it was damaging the roads and everything, so they were least interested about it, least bothered about it. This is because they have the CFC, SFC funds. They have so many government schemes where they know that this is a scheme. Today the road will be built. 2 years after, again it will be rebuilt and everything. And it was a win-win situation for the contractors, for the public representatives and everything. But when we gave them we didn't discuss about this wastewater, and we offered them the Mo Upkari Bagicha, that is a nutrition garden for around 25,000 families across the district. And we started the discussion why nutrition garden should be there in all those families which had sickle cell anemia or which had pregnant or lactating mothers, and then move the discourse to using the wastewater to actually irrigate those small nutrition gardens in their home. Then it was accepted, and actually there was a remarkable decrease in which was flowing out of their houses. So this is what the overall presentation is also about, that in each and every scheme, each and every step that we have involved, we have tried to implement, it is all as a result of cooperation, community participation, where they decide, they plan, and they tell what needs to be done. And we need to just intelligently route the discourse in such a manner that water conservation is actually the main motive behind it. So the first strategy was regarding the creation and rejuvenation of. We'll go to the first slide, which has the picture, sir. So the first back. Yeah, back. Not the before that. Not before the picture start. Before that. Before. One. Yeah. Thanks. So the first was regarding the creation and rejuvenation of major surface storage structures, where the new tanks were constructed under NREGA schemes, under the climate resilient agricultural scheme, or in fact even in the urban areas also. Many of the areas where the new villages were brought into the development authority, there we wanted the development of this water conservation to be a part of the development plan before they are subsumed into the municipality and the urban areas. So many of the new tanks were constructed, many traditional water bodies were rejuvenated. In this entire lockdown period, there was a major focus on farm pond and multi-purpose farm pond, where we had an ambitious target of 5,000 number of farm ponds, and almost 2,000 were completed just before the rain started. And again, the remaining 3,000 we will be doing it just after the paddy procurement operations gets over. And similarly, the conjunctive use of surface and groundwater, where the recharge pits were built. The recharge pits were mainly done in the schools and the Anganwadi centers, and especially in the urban areas of those who were being given the Prime Minister Awas Yojana urban houses, and many of the offices also, the recharge pits were there. One of the important areas where we intervened is the doing a lot of staggered trenches, and in association with the forest department and the Panchayati Raj department as well. Very big stretches of land where it was mostly a bald hill or a very gentle slopey land were there, and the vegetation and the plantation was completely absent, and which was the surface runoff was very high, and the laterite soil was also getting exposed. So each patches were around 40 to 50 hectares, and there the staggered trenches were built just before the monsoon season, and just in 4 to 5 months the greenery has increased so much that it has now become a very popular, in Odisha we have many picnic sites. They say Bhoji will be there. So these have become one of the major picnic spots also through these staggered trenches. Similarly, there are many streams, as Secretary Sir was saying about the third order and the fourth order streams. And there we planned a transit work during the People's Plan campaign, which was being done. And we let the women of the households show us where those streams earlier existed, because they used to go and collect the firewood and everything, so they knew where those streams existed. And there we suggested, along with the forest department, that many loose boulder check dams or the sand backfilled check dams were built across the stream, so that the runoff came down, and that water was actually being used to even small agricultural plots. They could be irrigated using that. The third part is regarding the wastage reduction, because this is one of the major area with the rising population. We need to be more efficient, as Sir was also mentioning about. So wastage reduction is also very important, and there are two areas where we thought this wastage reduction can't happen with very small minimalist or step-by-step solutions. So we prepared a comprehensive district irrigation plan and a comprehensive district drinking water plan, as Sir was also mentioning about this Jal Jeevan mission. And so the entire saturating each and every household with a functional tap connection, the entire district plan was set up, and a complete ban was given that no more tube wells or bore wells can be constructed without prior permission. And in fact, many of the funds which were untied and tied and given to the panchayats or the blocks or the Jila Parishad under CFC SFC were again taken back and deposited in the district water and sanitation mission, so that centrally the drinking water portion will be taken care of. So this is where we became very strict, and over a period of few months, even the public representatives were okay with it when the functional tap water connection and the quality and the reliability with which water was being given to the households increased. So this actually stopped the construction of around 500 to 600 number of tube wells that were being constructed every year in the district. Similarly, sir, even for not these tap water connections were given even to the Anganwadi and the schools. 1,000-liter small tanks were given, and so that water which was coming out of it was again used to irrigate the nutrition gardens and the Mopkari Bagicha in these Anganwadis and the schools as well, sir. Next, we also focused on next slide, please. Next was regarding the irrigation systems which are already existing, that they might be the major irrigation. In Bolangir, we didn't have major irrigation projects. Sir must be also knowing we had the Suktel project which began much long back, and fortunately we the work has all begun last month, and even the Lower Indira project in the neighboring district. So now we around 8 blocks out of 14 blocks will be having the regular water supply through canals as well. And many of these old irrigation structures, be it the major canals or even the MIP projects, or even those check dams which were constructed because of political, things and other things which were constructed for mainly for bathing and other purposes. So those were again revived. In many areas, we even demolished many of the check dams which were built in one particular stream. This was done either for bathing purposes or without any plan it was being built, and that was reducing the runoff actually. And there also because the people were taken into confidence, where we offered them bathing step with bathing ghat and a changing room and a bathing complex near that stream, and to which they agreed to demolish even those check dams which were actually useless in the course of the streams. Next was the crop diversification, and this is where major change has come up in the district, sir. And here, many of these schemes, there are many of these schemes from the Government of India, Government of Odisha, and those which were getting success, such as in the intensification of millet or in the cotton farming. All those were also supplemented with the district mineral fund. Now we have the very intensive type of paddy which is being grown. The paddy, the cropping area hasn't increased. The sugarcane area has almost been reduced to nil, and now people are actually going for millets. They are going for cotton. They are going for even the pulses and oilseeds, and this is only because we have chosen the demonstration area as well, and there is a continuous incentive and disincentive which is being done with the paddy farmers, and so similarly, sir, in many areas where the farmers insisted on doing paddy even for the Rabi season, there also we in order to make them understand, we sent many mobile soil health teams, and they changed the discourse. They said the soil was not suitable for paddy anymore. You need to have more pulses, oilseeds, and other nitrogenous varieties of crops, and that is where these technical inputs convinced many of the farmers to go for many of the low water consuming and non-paddy cropping patterns, sir. And even for the millets as well, as I was saying, sir, millet was once a part of this cropping pattern in this district long back, and now in the last 1 year, this mission under Odisha Millet Mission, the cropping area has increased near about 12 to 14 times. And now we have a complete procurement system for millets similar to that of the paddy. We have a minimum support price for the millets. The millets are being procured, and there are millet kiosks in most of the blocks. The ragi and has now become a fashion food also for many of the urban areas. The multigrain flour and everything. And similarly, sir, this millet and ragi and other such less water consuming crops are also being given as a part of the meal structure in the schools and Anganwadi centers as well. The last part that I would like to mention is that the community participation, and that is where it has been very important in this particular district and even in the state. The community participation has been very important in getting good information all this part has been very fun, very enjoyable, and very sustainable also once we involve the community. I'll give an example. Like suppose we had a Maharaja Sagar tank in Titlagarh. We have a Maharaja Sagar tank. It's a very beautiful 10 to 15 acre big pond, and that had to be rejuvenated. There was very big slums which were there outside it, and initially we thought of just deploying those slum people and going and cleaning the tank and everything. But fortunately, the state government came up with the Jaga mission, where the slum dwellers who were there, notified slums, they were given land. And so the slum people, they were completely shifted out. All those drains which were leading to the tanks, the iron grills were put in those tanks, and even the fecal matter which was going into the tanks, there was a fecal sludge treatment plant which was set up in the district, and even those slum women, they are now running the fecal sludge management, the fecal sludge treatment unit. And as you might be knowing also, sir, that Odisha also led the country in the decentralized fecal seepage treatment plant in this thing. So this is where the community participation plays a very important role. Even many of the irrigation structures that were created, sir, under the accelerated under the watershed scheme, or even under the state government scheme, there also the uses of the water was done through Pani Panchayats, which was an act in the state. And the Pani Panchayats used to collect the fees from the farmers which are utilizing the water for irrigation purpose. And they were the persons who were responsible also to ensure that the water reaches from the head to the tail that it is intended for. So these are a few pictures, sir. I'd like to just run by the pictures quickly, sir. So this is where the community participation and planning through the Pani Panchayats happen, and in the major irrigation structures. One back, sir. Back.
I think you will have to come through the pictures actually for paucity of time.
Sir. So these are the staggered trenches, sir, which was dug over 70 hectares. And this is the just a second, sir. So these are the famous important tourist places, which was the Chaucity, Yogini, Mandir, Ranipur, Jharial, and Harishankar. Here also the entire lake and the tank was completely cleaned, and so that it becomes a tourist potential also, and the desilting is reduced. Next. Next. So these are the rural park with model tanks which were built in the rural areas also. There are many big tanks which were there, and to bring some sort of an aspiration among the rural people that they should also have some of the urban facilities. So we thought of building the model tanks with rural parks, so where they learn about the water conservation and the beauty, the scenery. Basically, we wanted some grouping places in the many of the villages, so that to have some urban features. That is where with NREGA and CFC funds, these sort of projects were developed. Next.
Okay. Fast.
I think we'll already run out of time, sir. So, sir, it's been a great session, sir. And I have learned quite a lot, and especially after the Jal Shakti Abhiyan has started, even many of these schemes, I personally had not thought the importance of water conservation behind it, and actually it becomes an eye-opener for administrators like us also to know the real intent of schemes behind it. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Chanchal. The idea is not only that you showcase whatever you have done, but it also gives an opportunity to learn from the peers. Nothing like learning from the peers, actually. For paucity of time, I would not say anything. One is that, of course, I keep talking of Odisha Millets Mission, actually. This is something which is a wonderful initiative which government of Odisha has taken, actually, and I wish the other states follow suit, even states like Telangana and all. Traditionally, where a lot of millets were grown, actually, something like Millets Mission would be something very good, actually. And the only other thing I would like to tell you that even a district like Bolangir or many other districts in Odisha used to have a very huge tanks actually. They were built by kings at one point of time, whether it was a Patnagar king or whether it was a Gajpati king. And they used to be called Sagar actually. They're called Sita Sagar, Ram Sagar. There used to be so big ones actually. So you must ensure that all the big water tanks, water bodies used to be there should be alive actually. Thank you very much. And since there is not much time and we have still a very important speaker left, because we want to have flavor from other kind actually, because so far only we have heard the district administration, the district magistrates actually. So over to your show.
So thank you, sir. Thanks, Chanchal. Secretary used to speak about the sagas very regularly in water talks about Sita Sagar, and also now we have seen you also showing pictures of that. We also in National Water Mission also started a campaign called Sahi Fasal, where we look at the right cropping patterns which use the crops which use less water. That is also one of the campaigns which we are doing it. Thanks, Chanchal. Now we have Mr. Sunil Joshi from Rashtriya Jal Biradari, Pune. This is an independent network of volunteers spearheaded by Rajendra Singh, and they have been concentrating on reviving rivers. So they have done a lot of work in the Marathwada region. In Osmanabad, there's a Ranjani village. They have revived river. There's a river. They have revived river like Agragani in Sangli, then Holna River in Bid district, Tavraja and Terna rivers in Latur. So a lot of rivers they have this network of volunteers have revived. It's a very inspirational thing, part of the Catch the Rain campaign which we're doing. So over to you, Mr. Sunil Joshi. Unmute.
हाँ, धन्यवाद सर। सिंह सर नमस्ते, आप सभी को प्रणाम। मेरे लिए कितना समय है तो उस हिसाब से मैं अपनी बात रखता हूँ।
नहीं, अब ऐसा है कि चूंकि 15 मिनट तो आप ले ही सकते हैं।
ठीक है सर, 15 मिनट में मैं अपनी बात खत्म करूंगा। ठीक है सर। मैं प्रेजेंटेशन इसलिए नहीं कर रहा था कि मेरे पास इतनी बड़ी मात्रा में फोटोज और वीडियोस वगैरह है, क्योंकि मैं लास्ट 25 ईयर्स से काम कर रहा हूँ महाराष्ट्र में, और पूरे नेटवर्किंग का मेरा सबसे ज़्यादा काम है और ग्रासरूट पे काम है। जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट मैजिस्ट्रेट ने बात रखी है उनका मैं सभी का स्वागत करता हूँ। आपने जो भी काम किया है बहुत ही सराहनीय है। तो मैं थोड़ा कुछ इनोवेटिव चाहता था, क्योंकि मैं इनोवेटिव कामों का बंदा रहा हूँ। शुरू से मैंने कुछ ना कुछ इनोवेशन लाया है अपने काम में। तो मैं थोड़ी बात करता हूँ अलग से, कबीरा क्या कहते हैं पानी के बारे में, उसके बारे में एक बात करके मैं अपनी शुरुआत करता हूँ। कबीर जी कहते हैं, कबीरा कुआं एक है, कबीरा कुआं एक है, पानी भरे आने। कबीरा कुआं एक है, पानी भरे आने, भांडे में ही है भेद। जो आपका भांडा है उसमें ही भेद है, भांडे ही में है भेद, पानी सब में एक। पानी के बिना आप किसी को जोड़ नहीं सकते, किसी भी चीज के सिवा आप लोगों को एक साथ जोड़ नहीं सकते। तो डॉक्टर राजेंद्र सिंह जी के साथ मैंने 18 साल काम किया है ग्रासरूट पे, पूरी देश और दुनिया में। उनके साथ मैं स्टॉकहोम वाटर प्राइज जब उन्हें मिला 2015 में, तो मैं वन ऑफ द इनवाइटी था स्वीडन गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से। मैं वहाँ गया था और क्लाइमेट चेंज के उपलक्ष्य में जो भी वर्ल्ड वाइड बातें होती रहती है उसमें मैं शरीक होता हूँ, और मैं हर देश में निमंत्रित हूँ जहाँ पे इसमें काम चल रहा है, स्पेसिफिकली क्लाइमेट चेंज में। तो उसको नजर रखते हुए हमने कुछ एक्टिविटीज डिजाइन की थी स्पेसिफिकली। उसमें जिसको 2 हमारे एक्टिविटीज को पुरस्कार मिला है जल शक्ति मंत्रालय की तरफ से, वो है कासार ओढ़ा, जो सांगोला तहसील में है महाराष्ट्र में, जो ड्रॉटपुर एरिया है। वहाँ जो काम हुआ था उसको पुरस्कार मिला, जिसमें हमने 42 विलेजेस को जो जोड़ने वाला नाला था हमने उसके साथ काम किया है। और वन ऑफ द बेस्ट वर्क जहाँ पे पोमोग्रेनेट बड़ी मात्रा में वहाँ पे होता है, वो पूरा ड्रॉटपुर एरिया है। अग्रणी नदी पुनरुज्जीवन कार्य के लिए लास्ट मंथ ही एक पुरस्कार दिया गया अपने मंत्रालय की तरफ से, उसका मैं पायोनियर हूँ। इसमें हमने कंसेप्ट ऐसा रखा था, क्योंकि जो अग्रणी नदी पूरी मृत हो चुकी थी 1985 में जब वो बही थी, उसके बाद लोगों ने उसका बहना देखा नहीं था, तो वहां के हमेशा होने वाले अकाल को हमने ऐसे ढंग से आंसर देखा कि लोगों को साथ में जोड़ना है। तो सांगली डिस्ट्रिक्ट में 3 मंत्री थे उस जमाने में, उस समय में कांग्रेस और इनकी मिलीजुली सरकार थी राष्ट्रवादी की, और 3 मिनिस्टर्स थे। तो हमने इसमें पॉलिटिक्स और पॉलिटिकल एक्टिविज्म, पॉलिटिकल माइंडसेट को अलग रख के हमने वहां पे कंसेप्ट रखा, संत, समाज, शासन और संशोधक, इनको साथ में लाओ। संशोधक माने किसान, बाहर का कोई आदमी नहीं, हर एक के पास अच्छे आइडियाज होती है, तो हमने उनको अपने साथ रखा। और उसका एक हमारा कंसेप्ट ये था, पैसा लोगों का, ड्राइंग सरकार का। जो भी एक्टिविटी करनी थी उसमें गवर्नमेंट हमारे साथ थी। हमने गवर्नमेंट के साथ कोई भी रिबेल वाला काम नहीं किया या उनके साथ झगड़ा नहीं किया, सब हमारे लोग हैं। ड्राइंग सरकार का, क्योंकि जो भी हम लोगों ने बांध बनाया उसका ड्राइंग गवर्नमेंट का था। प्यार सबका, सब लोग हमारे साथ जुड़ गए थे एक साथ। प्यार सबका, एक साथ हो सब में विश्वास। विश्वास से काम होता है, अगर विश्वास थोड़ा भी हिल गया तो आप कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते। तो चिंता की क्या बात, करेंगे मात अकाल पर, ये स्लोगन लेकर हम लोगों ने अग्रणी नदी में काम शुरू किया। वहां पे इनिशिएटिव फेज पे जो भी हम लोगों को साथ में जोड़ना था, वो जोड़ने के लिए हमें 1 साल लगा। कितना मुश्किल होता है लोगों को एक साथ जोड़ने में, ये हमने जगह जगह पे देखा है, क्योंकि लोगों के अपने अपने बहुत सारे मनमुटाव होते हैं। बाहर से वो दिखते हैं बहुत एक दूसरे के साथ जा रहे हैं, लेकिन जब काम की बात आती है तो प्रॉब्लम हमेशा रहते रहे। तो हमने उसमें ये अपनी ये कंसेप्ट को लेके आगे काम किया, क्योंकि उनको पता था कि हमारा इसमें कोई स्वार्थ नहीं है। बीइंग एनजीओ हम लोगों से कुछ नहीं मांग रहे, वहीं के लोगों को हमने यूनिट बना के उनके साथ काम किया। और ये सक्सेस ऐसा है कि अग्रणी नदी पुनरुज्जीवन ये देश का सबसे पावरफुल काम है। मैं अपने दावे के साथ कहता हूँ। मेरी यूपी सिंह साहब और आप सभी आज जो इसमें आज के वेबिनार में सम्मिलित है, सभी को मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है और मैं आप सबको सादर आमंत्रित करता हूँ कि आप वो देखने के लिए महाराष्ट्र में आइए। बहुत ही बढ़िया काम हुआ है। और हमारे जो कलेक्टर थे शुरू के, दीपेंद्र सिंह कुशवाहा, वो भी किसानों के घर से बड़े हुए हैं, उन्होंने इनिशिएटिव लिया। उसके बाद जो शेखर गायकवाड़ जी आए, जो महाराष्ट्र के वन ऑफ द बेस्ट कलेक्टर है, जो मेरे निजी दोस्त है 1985 से, तो उन्होंने इसमें अंतिम उसको एक सक्सेसफुल मिशन में कन्वर्ट किया। और ये जो अग्रणी नदी है वो महाराष्ट्र से सांगली जिले में शुरू होती है और खत्म होती है कर्नाटका में बेलगाम के नजदीक अथनी गांव में। तो ये 105 किलोमीटर वाला जो पूरा स्ट्रेच है, उस 105 किलोमीटर के पहले जो 6 डैम बनाए गए हैं उसमें पैसा लोगों का था। जो बांध बनाने में 5.5 से लेके 7.5-8 लाख तक का खर्चा हुआ था। और ये बांध कुछ शुरू के बांध 3.5 महीने में बने, बाकी के बांध 15 दिन में बने। तो ये जो राज की बात है, इसमें ये हुआ कि सभी लोग, सभी बिरादरी के लोग, इसमें कोई ऊंच नीच और जात के हिसाब से नहीं था। जो नदी के अगल बगल में थे, जो बाढ़ कभी भी वहां पे उन्हें देखने नहीं आई थी, अकाल ही अकाल देखते थे, जो अकाल से पीड़ित थे, उन लोगों का ये प्रण था कि हमें नदी को पुनरुज्जीवित करना है। तो ये पुनरुज्जीवन जो था ये अपने आप में एक मिसाल बन गई और सभी लोग उसमें जुट गए। शुरू में हमें तकलीफ इसके लिए हुई थी कि लोगों के मन में लॉजिकल एंड तक जाने के लिए जो भी डिजाइन होता है उसके बारे में विश्वास नहीं था कि बस ये बांध बनने से कैसे नदी पुनरुज्जीवित होगी। तो जब तक गवर्नमेंट नहीं जुड़ जाएगा तब तक काम कैसे बने। तो ये संत, समाज और शासन का जो मंत्र था, इस मंत्र को हमने वहां पे डिजाइन किया, एक्सेस किया, एक्सेलरेट किया। डॉक्टर राजेंद्र सिंह जी ने इसमें बहुत बड़ा उनका इसमें योगदान है। उन्होंने इसको बहुत ही सीरियसली लिया और उनका महाराष्ट्र के साथ बहुत जुड़ाव है और हम लोग उनके साथ जिस ढंग से काम कर लेते उसका एक अंजाम यहाँ पे हमें देखने में मिला। तो अग्रणी के साथ साथ 2012-13 में हमने पश्चिम महाराष्ट्र जो हमारा ड्रॉटपूर्ण एरिया है वहां पे 3 अलग अलग नदियों पे इसी ढंग से काम किया। एक थी उसका नाम है एरड़ा, एक थी माणगंगा, और ये जो नदियां है आगे चल के कृष्णा को मिलती है और कुछ भीमा नदी को मिलती है, पंढरपुर में जाके माणगंगा मिलती है। तो माणगंगा नदी में एक तो बात इतनी अच्छी रही उसमें कि हमारे डिविजनल कमिश्नर उस जमाने में जो थे प्रभाकर देशमुख जो ग्रास रूट से है, गांव से आए हुए, उन्होंने इनिशिएटिव लिया। फिर बाकी सभी 5 ही जिलों के कलेक्टर उसमें जुड़ गए और ये मिशन रिवर, नदियों को लोगों से जोड़ो और नाले को दिल से, ये हमारा इसमें स्लोगन था कि नदियों को हम लोगों ने खलास किया है, उनकी मरम्मत हमने कही नहीं, उसकी तरफ प्यार से देखा नहीं, तो पहले उसको लोगों से जोड़ो और नालों को प्यार से दिल से जोड़ो। क्योंकि नालों के ऊपर हमने अन्याय किया था कि नालों को हमने अपनी खुद की प्रॉपर्टी समझ के उनको हमने एनक्रोच किया था। तो नालों को आपको छोड़ना है। हमारे यहाँ पे आपको पता होगा कि हमारे यहाँ पे बहुत बड़ी मात्रा में शुगर केन है। अब जब गांव में एक आधा नाला होता है और जो बहता नहीं है कभी, तो उसको फिर लैंडफिल करके उसको पूरा रोड में कन्वर्ट भी किया जाता है। अनफॉर्चुनेटली ऐसे बहुत जगह पे हुआ था। तो ये कोर्ट में अगर जाए उनके साथ झगड़े के तो उसमें कुछ बनेगा नहीं। तो ये प्यार वाली बात जो हमारी थी, नालों को अपने दिल से जोड़ो, तो इससे ये चमत्कार हमें देखने में मिला कि लोगों ने अपनी इंक्रोचमेंट पूरी छोड़ दी। अगर अग्रणी को गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से कॉम्पेंसेशन देके काम करना पड़ता था तो 50 साल लग, लेकिन यहाँ पे ऐसा हुआ कि एक पैसा भी कॉम्पेंसेशन किसी को नहीं दिया। जब हम लोगों ने एक्सकैवेशन किया, उसके बाद डिपनिंग और वाइडनिंग किया, तो उसमें बहुत लोगों का अपना अपना थोड़ा हिस्सा गया है जमीन का, लेकिन किसी ने एक पैसे का भी डिमांड नहीं किया और ना लिटिगेशन का। ये सबसे पावरफुल बात है अग्रणी नदी पुनर्जीवन की। आप लोगों ने जो टेक्निकल डिजाइन दिखाए, जो भी आपने काम किया है, वो तो आपने सब दिखाया। मैं बात कर रहा हूँ इमोशंस की। बिना इमोशन पानी के साथ आप जोड़ नहीं सकते और पानी के साथ रह भी नहीं सकते। तो इमोशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो इस इमोशन को हमने एक्सपांड किया लोगों के साथ, इसको हम आगे लेके गए। ये और तीसरी जो नदी है एरड़ा, एरड़ा की बात तो ऐसी है कि हमारे यहाँ पे एक क्षेत्र है पुसेगांव। जैसे आप कुंभ में शरीक होते हैं, तो हमारे यहाँ पे पुसेगांव जो क्षेत्र है वो किसानों का कुंभ है। यहाँ पे लगभग 8.5 से 15 लाख लोग वो 7 दिन की यात्रा में आते हैं, जो एरड़ा नदी के तट पे यात्रा होती है। और एरड़ा नदी और एरड़ा का जो पुसेगांव का जो देवस्थान है वो शिवागिरी महाराज के नाम से है। तो उस देवस्थान के लोगों ने इनिशिएटिव लिया। जब हमने उन लोगों के सामने बात रखी तो ये इतनी बड़ी मिशन मोड में बात हमारी चली गई। वहां के 25 गांव को, जहां से एरड़ा का उद्गम स्थान है एक हिली एरिया में, वहां से लेके गांव तक हम लोगों ने पदयात्रा की और लोगों को जोड़ दिया इसके साथ। और जो अग्रणी में किया था उसी को हमने यहाँ पे काम किया। इसमें देवस्थान ने मोर देन 65 लाख रुपीस का अपना योगदान दिया। और इस क्षेत्र का सबसे बड़ा विशेष यह है, यहाँ के ट्रस्ट का जो भी इलेक्शन होता है, जो 100% लोग वोटिंग करते हैं। जब ग्राम पंचायत का इलेक्शन होता है तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि 85-80% होता है, क्योंकि वहां पे पार्टियां होती है। यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं होता। यहाँ पे हर गांव, वो उनके क्षेत्र के जो भी लोग हैं गांव के, हर एक लोग वो ट्रस्ट के लिए मतदान करते हैं, ट्रस्टी चुनने के लिए। और वो जो ट्रस्टी होते हैं उनके पूरे 5 साल का योगदान होता है। एक पैसा भी वो अपने देवस्थान से लेते नहीं है। कोई भी मुआवजा हो या कोई ट्रैवल इधर उधर जाना है, कोई भी एक्सपेंडिचर वो लेते नहीं है। तो ये सबसे बड़ी पावरफुल बात है कि लोग दिल से जुड़ जाते हैं। और जब यहाँ पे लोगों ने काम शुरू किया तो एरड़ा नदी पुनरुज्जीवन कार्य में आपको मैं बताऊं, मुझे आनंद भी होता है और मेरी दुख की बात इसमें यह है कि वहां के पूरे रेनी सीजन में 3 या 4 दिन की बारिश होती है और सबसे मैक्सिमम बारिश होती है 55 मिलीमीटर विद इन 1 आवर या 1.5 आवर। और एक बार जब शुरू में बारिश होती है मृग नक्षत्र आने से पहले, उसके बाद बारिश होती है जब गणेश जी आते हैं, और जब रिटर्न मानसून आते हैं तब बारिश होती है। उसके बाद बारिश होती भी नहीं है। फिर भी यहाँ पे एक भी आदमी, एक भी किसान आत्महत्या नहीं करता। दैट इज द पावर। ये क्यों हुआ? मैं चाहता हूं सिंह साहब, आपके पूरी टीम को मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप इसका एक अच्छा अध्ययन करें। महाराष्ट्र में जगह जगह पे हमारी बदनामी इस कारण हुई है कि हमारे कुछ एरिया में बहुत सारी आत्महत्या हुई, और महाराष्ट्र एक ऐसा राज्य है कि जहाँ पे आत्महत्या ही आत्महत्या होती है। ये मैसेज इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया, डिजिटल मीडिया, बाकी मीडिया के माध्यम से गया। आई एम मीडिया पर्सन। मैंने सकाल मीडिया में 20 साल तक काम किया है, और एनजीओ में जब मैं मीडिया से निकल के एनजीओ में जुड़ गया तो मैं ऐसे कामों में लगा हूं कि जहाँ पे इनोवेशन है और जो बात लोगों के साथ कनेक्ट है। हमने सरकार को बाद में लाया है, लेकिन पहले लोगों के साथ हम लोग खुद जुड़ गए। और जो भी काम हम लोगों ने हाथ में लिया उसको लॉजिकल एंड में लेके गए और वो शाश्वत रूप का हुआ कि अब इसकी देखभाल लोग करेंगे, गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर उसका ज्यादा खर्चा नहीं आएगा। कलेक्टर कोई भी हो 3 साल के बाद बदल जाते हैं, हर एक को उस काम में विश्वास रहे और कोई भी कोर्ट में जाके या कहीं जहाँ पे कचहरी में झगड़ा नहीं करे, ये हमारा हमेशा फोकस रहा है। तो इसी ढंग से हमने काम किया। तो एरड़ा नदी का जो मैं बता रहा था कि एरड़ा नदी महाराष्ट्र की ऐसी नदी है जहाँ पे पूरे राज्य में सबसे कम बारिश होती है, और इस नदी के अगल बगल में जो भी किसान थे, इन किसानों ने अपने मरे हुए कुएं को जब जिंदा देखा तो वो लोग गन्ने के पीछे नहीं भागे। उनके एरिया में जो सबसे अच्छे फसल आते हैं वो फसल को उन्होंने एक्सपांड किया, उसका मार्केटिंग पहले उन्होंने डिजाइन किया था, फिर उन्होंने उसमें जाके अपने कितना उसमें लेना है, किस गांव ने क्या लगाना है, ये भी उन्होंने अपने अपने मन से तय किया कि अगर मैंने टोमेटो किया है तो बगल वाला गांव पूरा टोमेटो के ऊपर मत जाना नहीं चाहता। तो इस ढंग के उन्होंने अपना अपना प्लान किया था। मैंने अगर ओनियन किया है तो बाकी के लोग इसमें ओनियन में ज्यादा नहीं आएंगे। तो ये जो समझ है गांव के लोगों में, ये समझ बहुत बड़ी थी और आज भी है। वो गांव हर एक के साथ कनेक्ट है, दो दे आर पॉलिटिकली सेपरेट। जब इलेक्शन का समय आता है तो लोगों में इलेक्शन को सामने रखते हुए होती है कुछ 1-2 महीने के लिए एक दूसरे से भिड़ंत भी हो सकती है, या ये भी हो सकता है लड़त हो सकती है, लेकिन उन लोगों में पानी के प्रति जबरदस्त प्रेम है। और सबसे बड़ा इसमें कार्यरूप ये रहा कि हर एक का इसमें खुद का योगदान है। आज जो सभी सम्मिलित लोग हैं, मैं चाहता था कि आपके तरफ से कुछ ऐसी बात मैं सुनूं जिसमें पीपल्स पार्टिसिपेशन है। आप लोगों ने कुछ फोटोग्राफ्स वगैरह दिखाए मुझे, मैं आई एम वेरी हैप्पी, लेकिन मैं चाहता था कि ऐसी कोई सक्सेस स्टोरी जहां पे लोगों ने अपना पैसा भी दिया। महाराष्ट्र में बहुत सारे लोग जो ड्रॉटपूर्ण एरिया के हैं वो माइग्रेट होते हैं बंबई, पूना या अलग अलग एरिया में जहाँ पे वो काम करते हैं। जब हम लोगों ने आह्वान किया उन लोगों को कि आपको अपने मातृ गांव जिस गांव में आप पैदा हुए हैं उस गांव के बांध को आपको पुनर्जीवित करना है, तो आपको इसमें आपका योगदान चाहिए। तो माँ की बात है, ये माँ की आपको आवाज है, माँ का आह्वान है, आपको इसमें कुछ लगाना है। तो इस हमारे माँ की आह्वान की जो कंसेप्ट थी, इसमें लोगों ने पैसा अपना लगाया। और माणगंगा नदी में एक केटीवेयर का जो पुनरुज्जीवन हम लोगों ने किया, उसमें पूरा पैसा ये बंबई में जो लोग माइग्रेट होके गए थे उन लोगों ने दिया। तो ये जो बात है महाराष्ट्र में, ये सबसे पावरफुल बात है। अनफॉर्चुनेटली बीइंग अ मीडिया पर्सन, मैंने भी इसके बारे में जो भी हमारे लोकल एरिया में लिखा था, लेकिन हर जगह पे हम लोगों के साथ कहीं ना कहीं जगह जगह पे हमारे साथ ये अध्यात्म भाव जुड़ा है। तो इसके कारण हर एक गवर्नमेंट का ऑफिसर ये अध्यात्म भाव आने के कारण उसको हिचकिचाहट करता था कि अरे हम कैसे इसको आगे लेके चले, अगर आपको साथ में जोड़ा तो बाकी लोगों को क्या लगेगा। मेरी आपको रिक्वेस्ट है सर, महाराष्ट्र या पूरी इंडिया में हमारे जो भी हमारे देश की जितनी जनजातियां हैं, हर एक लोग पानी को रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं। मैंने अपने पूरे जीवन में बहुत अच्छे मुस्लिम्स भी देखे कि जिन्होंने इसमें योगदान दिया है, लेकिन वो आज भी उनमें एक भीति है कि हम लोग पब्लिसिटी नहीं करेंगे, हमारे यहाँ पे पब्लिसिटी मना है। मैंने अपने बलबूते पे जगह जगह पे ऐसे लोगों का मैंने इंटरव्यू किया, लोगों को डिजिटल मीडिया के सामने लाया। हमें ये चीजों को करना बहुत जरूरी। ब्रिटिश जब इंडिया में आए थे तो उन्होंने सेवा कार्य से अपनी काम को अंजाम दिया था। जितने बड़े काम ब्रिटिश एनजीओज ने किए हैं या ब्रिटिश लोग जब इंडिया में आए थे तो उनका फोकस ही पूरा वाटर मैनेजमेंट, वाटर डिजाइन, वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग सभी चीजों में था, उसके साथ हेल्थ में था, फिर एजुकेशन में चले गए वो। मैं चाहता हूं कि अपने देश में जो भी त्योहार होते हैं उन त्योहारों की एक अलग पहचान है, उनकी एक अलग ताकत है। हम लोग उनको भूल गए हैं। गवर्नमेंट की वहां पे जिम्मेदारी होती केवल सुरक्षा कवच वहां पे दीजिए और जहां पे टैंकर की जरूरत है टैंकर दीजिए। इन्वॉल्वमेंट, माइंड इन्वॉल्वमेंट और मस्तिष्क की इन्वॉल्वमेंट कहाँ नहीं है, कहीं भी नहीं है। जो महाराष्ट्र में हम जिस जगह में हमने काम किया वहां पे हमने पहले इसके ऊपर फोकस किया कि हमें इस चीज को बहुत साथ में लेके जाना है। अगर हम लोग ऐसे नहीं गए तो गवर्नमेंट का पैसा खर्चा होते रहेगा, होते रहेगा, होते रहेगा। गवर्नमेंट को भी लोगों से पैसा मिलता है, वो कितना पैसा खर्चा करे। तो ये चीजों को हमें बहुत ध्यान से और एक सिस्टम डिजाइन एक्शन से और एक्शन ओरिएंटेड एक्सेप्टेंस के साथ आगे ले चलना है। मैं चाहता हूं कि अगर आप सिंह साहब हमें मौका दे तो मैं दिल्ली खुद आऊंगा, मेरे साथ मेरे कुछ साथी होंगे, आपके साथ सामने मैं उसके बारे में प्रेजेंटेशन करूंगा। और लास्ट पॉइंट मैं आपको लेके चल रहा हूं, सुरेश खानापुरकर जी हमारे गुरु है पानी के काम के। मैं आपको रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं कि नेक्स्ट आपका जो भी वेबिनार होगा उसमें आप खानापुरकर जी को इनवाइट कीजिए। अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे ये महाराष्ट्र के सुरेश खानापुरकर जी जो अभी 75 ईयर्स के हुए, हम उनके अमृत महोत्सव का एक बड़ा प्रोग्राम महाराष्ट्र में रख रहे हैं, जिसमें 75 लोग जिन्होंने इनिशिएटिव लिया है अपने गांव को सुजलाम सुफलाम बनाने के लिए और कुछ कार्य किया है या उनके हाथ से कुछ हुआ है, ऐसे 75 लोगों का हम सम्मान करने वाले हैं। ये जनवरी में हम लोग काम करने वाले हैं, जनवरी 2021। और हमारे एक मित्र, मेरे घनश्याम पाटिल मेरे मित्र है पत्रकार, वो खानापुरकर जी के ऊपर एक किताब लिख रहे हैं, इसलिए कि जो काम हुआ है शिरपुर पैटर्न का, अनफॉर्चुनेटली उस काम में सरकार की तरफ से बहुत अड़ंगे हुए कि ये काम शिरपुर में फिजिबल है, बाकी जगहों में फिजिबल नहीं है। ऐसा नहीं है। वो 33 ईयर्स तक उन्होंने जीएसडी में काम किया, इज सीनियर जर्नल ऑफ इंडिया, लेकिन उनको सभी लोगों ने अलग रखा। आई एम ऑल्सो जियोलॉजिस्ट, मेरा भी जियोलॉजी सब्जेक्ट है, लेकिन उनका जो एक ढंग था, उनकी सोचने की, उनकी जो एक अलग कंसेप्ट थी, उसको हमने देखा है। आज 15-16 साल के बाद मैं कहता हूं, मैं उनके साथ 2003 से जुड़ा हूं, 2003 से 2020 तक जो उनके काम हुए काबिल तारीफ है। मैं आपको रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं कि आपकी पूरी आज जो टीम आई है वो लोग शिरपुर का काम जरूर देखें। महाराष्ट्र में जगह जगह शिरपुर को लेके आगे लोगों ने काम किया है। अनफॉर्चुनेटली ये जो गवर्नमेंट लेवल पे जो थोड़ा उनके साथ जम नहीं रहा था, उसके कारण उनको अलग अलग जगह पे व्यासपीठ नहीं मिला। उनके साथ मैं समझता हूं कि बहुत बड़ा अन्याय हुआ है, उनको सुनना बहुत जरूरी है। अकाल और बाढ़ एक ही सिक्के के दो बाजू। अगर मुझे अकाल को कंट्रोल करना है तो बाढ़ को भी मुझे देखना है, बाढ़ को कंट्रोल करना है, अकाल में ही भूलना चाहिए। तो अकाल और बाढ़ के साथ जिन्होंने काम किया है महाराष्ट्र के हमारे शिरपुर के सुरेश खानापुरकर जी है। हमारे यहाँ पे 2 साल में बहुत बड़ी बारिश हुई है। शिरपुर अकेला।
सुनील जी थोड़ा
हाँ मैं
सुनील जी टाइम 20-25 मिनट हो गए, थोड़ा
नहीं मैं करता हूँ खत्म करता हूँ 2 मिनट।
सेक्रेटरी साहब को कुछ प्रोग्राम है, इसके बाद एक प्रोग्राम है।
और मैं अभी फिनिशिंग मोड में इस तरफ आ रहा हूं, मैं आपको लेके चल रहा हूं कि कोरोना काल में मैक्सिमम लोग डिजिटल मोड पे आए हैं, मैक्सिमम लोग सभी ऑनलाइन चले गए। तो मैं चाहता हूं कि एक अपना डिजिटल मैगजीन बने। अभी मैंने एक डिजिटल मैगजीन शुरू किया, उसका नाम है सृजनशील, जो फेसबुक पे चलता है, लेकिन वो मराठी लैंग्वेज में है। हम लोग सक्सेस स्टोरीज रखते हैं अलग अलग एरिया में जो भी होते हैं, अपार्ट फ्रॉम वाटर, अलग अलग सक्सेस स्टोरीज। और इसके साथ साथ जो भी अच्छे काम जहां भी हो रहे, पब्लिक पार्टिसिपेशन और जो इनोवेशन है, उसको आपको बहुत ही डिजाइन ओरिएंटेड इसमें रखना है, ऐसे मैं चाहता हूं। आप लोगों ने मुझे यहाँ पे आने के लिए मुझे आमंत्रित किया, मैं बहुत खुश हूँ। और एक आपको निमंत्रित करता हूं मैं ग्लोबल परली, जहाँ पे मयांक गांधी जी ने 11 गाँव का 4 साल में सुजलाम सुफलाम का काम किया है। जो परली डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, परली में बी डिस्ट्रिक्ट जो हमारे यहाँ का पूरा ड्रॉट प्रोन डिस्ट्रिक्ट है, आदरणीय कैलाशवासी गोपीनाथ राव जी मुंडे का वो गढ़ था परली। तो परली में मयांक गांधी बंबई से वहां पे आए और वहां पे उन्होंने काम किया 11 गांव को लेके, ग्लोबल परली ऐसा उसका नाम है। उनको भी आप इनवाइट कीजिए, उनको, आपको भी बहुत उनके पास से इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगी। तो ये जो काम हो रहा है उसके ऊपर हम लोग देख रहे हैं। और खत्म करते समय आपके सामने मैं एक चैलेंज रख रहा हूँ, इफ देयर इज नो चैलेंज देयर इज नो चेंज। आने वाले 3 साल कम बारिश होने वाली है। हमारा अभ्यास कह रहा है कि बारिश कम होने वाली है। अभी इस साल हम लोगों ने एक्सट्रीम बारिश देखी, बाढ़ देखी, लेकिन आने वाले 3 सालों में बारिश होने वाली नहीं है। 2 बारिशों के बीच वाला अंतर बढ़ने वाला है। तो हमारे पास क्या रेमेडी है, हम कैसे उसके साथ जूझ पाएंगे, लोगों को हम लोग उसमें से कैसे आगे ले चलेंगे, उनमें पैनिक कैसा ना हो जाए, उसके ऊपर हमें सोचना है। आगे के 3 साल बहुत ही हमारे लिए चैलेंजिंग है और हम लोग उस काम में लगे कि हाउ टू वर्क विद दैट। थैंक यू सर।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आई एम सॉरी कि आपको जितना आप बताना चाहते थे उसके लिए उतना वक्त हम दे नहीं पाए। एक्चुअली हमारी दिक्कत तो यही रहती है। वैसे हम तो एक वाटर टॉक भी करते हैं जहाँ पे हम 1 घंटे एक व्यक्ति को कम से कम बात करने के लिए देते हैं, लेकिन अब इस फॉर्मेट में अब मेरी तो इच्छा है कि पूरे देश में जरा अपना अपना माइक ऑन ऑफ ही रखिए।
जोशी जी आप म्यूट कर लीजिएगा।
हाँ,
तो चूंकि मेरी तो इच्छा है कि कुछ 700 जिले हैं, करीब 700 प्लस जिले हैं, डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हैं इस कंट्री में, तो कैसे मैं सब जगह जा पाऊं, तो इसीलिए मैं 15 मिनट से ज्यादा किसी पे से समय नहीं दे पाता हूं। बट वी वांट ऑलवेज अ फ्लेयर फ्रॉम आउटसाइड, बिकॉज ओनली लिसनिंग टू आवर ओन गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट इज नॉट गुड, इज नॉट एडेक्वेट, आई एम सेइंग। आपने तो चार बड़ी अच्छी अच्छी बातें कही हैं। एक तो आपने बहुत बढ़िया बात कही कि भाई पानी एक ऐसी चीज है, उसके लिए पैशन का होना बहुत जरूरी है एक्चुअली। सो ऑल दो जो वर्क, all young officers, I say you must be passionate. You should be passionate about everything, but especially you must be passionate about water. दूसरा, आपने ये भी एग्जाम्पल दिखाया कि ठीक है, दिक्कत जो भी होती है, लेकिन आपने जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट एंड नॉन गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस दोनों एक साथ मिल जाते हैं, वहाँ और बेटर काम होता है, बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट हैव सर्टेन स्ट्रेंथ एंड नॉन गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस also have certain strength actually. हमारे पास मैन पावर है, हमारे पास फंड्स हैं, लेकिन आपको जो लोगों की जोड़ने की जो नॉन गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस की जो क्षमता है, वो शायद हमारे पास नहीं है। यू हैव अ बेटर कनेक्ट विद द पीपल एक्चुअली। रिवर्स की बात आपने कही, मेरा तो एक फेवरेट टॉपिक है, बिकॉज पहले भी मैं नेशनल मिशन फॉर क्लीन गंगा का काम देखता था। तो ये जो छोटी छोटी नदियों का रिजुवनेशन की आपने बात कही, आई एम अवेयर ऑफ मेनी ऑफ देम। इनफैक्ट जो आपने बात कही, सिरपुर मॉडल की बात की और खानापुरकर साहब की बात की, मेरे उनसे बात हुई है एक्चुअली, एंड आई एम अवेयर ऑफ उनका क्या मॉडल है। तो मैं तो कोशिश करूंगा कि कभी आप जो अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, और वो खानापुरकर साहब भी अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, किए हैं, उसको देखने की हम कोशिश करेंगे। एक लास्ट में मैं यही कहना चाहूंगा कि देखिए, ऐसा है कि कोई भी न्यूज का मतलब ही होता है कि जो नेगेटिव चीज होती है वो जल्दी न्यूज में आ जाती है, पॉजिटिव चीज आना थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है। एंड दैट इज वाई हम ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं, और ये वाटर डायलॉग भी उसी का परिणाम है कि हम ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि लोग ऐसा ना समझे कि कहीं कुछ हो नहीं रहा है। बहुत कुछ हो रहा है, लेकिन कई बार लोग जान नहीं पाते हैं, और जानते भी हैं तो देखिए, दैट डजंट मेक अ न्यूज। इफ अ डॉग बाइट्स अ मैन, इट्स नॉट अ न्यूज। इफ अ मैन बाइट्स अ डॉग, इट बिकम्स अ न्यूज। तो वो एक दिक्कत है। इसीलिए हम ये बहुत सारी कोशिशें कर रहे हैं। हमने नेशनल वाटर अवार्ड्स 2 साल से दे रहे हैं, हमने नेशनल वाटर मिशन अवार्ड्स भी दिए। हम हर महीने 10 वाटर वॉरियर्स को भी हम रिकॉग्नाइज करते हैं, उनको कुछ कैश प्राइज भी देते हैं। हम हर महीने एक जल चर्चा करके एक मैगजीन निकालना हमने शुरू किया था पिछले साल, 1 जनवरी 2019 से हर महीने एक जल चर्चा मैगजीन निकालते हैं, जिसका दोनों प्रिंटेड वर्जन भी है और ई वर्जन भी है। इस ढंग से जितनी भी अच्छी स्टोरीज होती है, वो हम कोशिश करते हैं कि हमारे जितने भी सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म हो, चाहे वो हमारा नमामि गंगे का फेसबुक पेज हो, या हमारे वाटर रिसोर्सेज का फेसबुक पेज हो, या नेशनल वाटर मिशन का फेसबुक पेज हो, हर जगह जो अच्छी अच्छी जितनी स्टोरी होती है, स्पेशली वो स्टोरी जिसमें लोगों ने, जो आपने बताया कि लोगों ने खुद काम किया है, लोगों ने पैसे भी दिए हैं, मतलब तन मन धन सब लोगों ने देके काम किया है, उस स्टोरी को भी हम लाने की कोशिश करते हैं। So thank you very much. And now, since we are already almost 6 o'clock, we have exceeded our time limit by half an hour or so. So I would like to thank, first of all, again a thank to Souvik, Sangmitra and the entire team from APSC, because they are the ones who have been providing us technical support week after week and without any kind of a glitches actually. So thank you very much. Of course, Ashok is the main person behind this, our mission director from NWM. And I would like to thank all my young friends who have come here, presented them. I'll request them to be in touch. And you people are already doing good work for water. And I'm sure that after going from here, you will try to work with maybe a renewed vigor, renewed zeal, because as I said, water is something which a lot of passion is required for this actually. So thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Sunil Joshi ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for sparing your time, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir actually comes and sits for the program every Saturday to 3:30 to 6 o'clock, and it is a great inspiration for us. I just concluding 1 or 2 points I would say for all of your information, all of it. We have, जैसे जोशी साहब ने बताया, we have to look at for carrying storing the water conservation अगले 3 साल के लिए. So we have started this campaign, catch the rain where it falls, when it falls. जहां पानी बरसे वहीं पे उनको स्टोर करने का ये मुहिम चलाई है. तो इसका एक अवेयरनेस कैंपेन अभी अगले महीने से शुरू करेंगे, 3-4 महीने का. नेहरू युवा केंद्र के लोगों से क्लब्स को मिला के कर रहे हैं. तो मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है कि सब डीएम्स और डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टरेट्स को कि दे शुड जॉइन हैंड्स विद द नेहरू युवा केंद्र एंड द टीम एंड दे कम टू मीट यू इन द नेक्स्ट 1 or 2 weeks. तो यू शुड plan for
बिल्कुल मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि आज का जो रिकॉर्डिंग हुआ है जो हमें अगर लिंक भेज देते हैं तो हम लोग इसको ये करें।
I'm coming to that. Second, all these video webinars हो रहा है, उसका वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग हमारे वेबसाइट nwm.gov.in में है, तो आप देख सकते हैं पिछले 15 हफ्ते में जितने भी वेबिनार हुआ था उसका है nwm.gov.in। तो मैं आपसे बात कर लूंगा। तीसरी बात है कि I request all of you that next 3 months you should please work so that you keep the burthen ready, vessel ready to catch the rain. So when the barish agar rainy season mein aayenge, we should keep the vessel ready by desilting the tanks, by removing the encroachments, by creating appropriate rainwater harvesting structures so that the water is caught and stored there. Thanks a lot. I'll get back to you individually and speak to you all of you. Once again, all of you, I thank from the heart for participating in this and sharing your thoughts. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Good night. Have a nice Sunday.
Thank you so much. Before we say goodbye to all of you, I can say that the learning and outcome of today's episode can be, we can take a crux and we can say PR for water. That is passion and respect for water, amalgamating the speech of UP Singh and Sunil Joshi. You knew about respect for water. Sunil Joshi talked about passion for water. So let's have PR for water, passion and respect for water to rewrite the new definition of water resource management in India. Thank you so much. With this, we give you all. See you next week. Thank you, Sri UP Singh, G. Kumar, Sunil Joshi, Krishna Bhaskar, Chanchal Rana, Dr. Hari Jawaharlal, and Dr. Manan Akhtar. Thanks for joining us. See you next week. Thank you so much.